All right, yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of the Tactical Roundtable. So tonight was kind of sort of like a last minute thing. We weren't, me and G were not sure if we were going to do this tonight because obviously we didn't really get a whole lot of Ghost Recon information at E3 this year, let alone anything really Tom Clancy other than Rainbow Six, which we will kind of touch on in the live stream tonight. But welcome everybody. I'm not sure if G's back yet. He was
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
okay, he's back, and we're just going to be talking quite a bit about some things we think about what's coming with Ghost Recon. Obviously, we did get a 35-second teaser of a teaser of something that might be coming at some point,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
quotations and asterisk. So we'll kind of touch on that, as well as I did put a link in the chat, and I'm actually going to put the link in the chat one more time real quick. So that is over to a Reddit poll that I put up asking for everybody's feedback. Everybody that can see that in the Ghost Recon community that wants to give feedback for the future of the franchise, because there's been some different people in the community that kind of have different ideas of what do we want to see for the Ghost Recon franchise moving forward. So I put up that poll trying to get as big of a sample size as physically possible. I also put it up on my community tab on my YouTube channel, as well as I put it up on Twitter, and I put it up on the Ghost Recon forums for a link to the Reddit thread. So just trying to get as much feedback on that as possible. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to turn it real quick over to G. How's it going, buddy? Were you excited about the Ghost Recon reveal and stuff at E3?
My God, I'm sure everybody who was with me, first of all, shout out to everybody who stopped by, not only yesterday, but today as well. We had a fun time watching so far what is all the showcases of E3, whether it was Ubisoft Forward yesterday and today with Xbox and everything. But of course, like everyone else, I was extremely excited to see something from Ghost Recon. Now, I assumed it was going to be Tomb Raider, obviously. That's the next thing that seems like we're going to be getting, this little Tomb Raider crossover event, the Easter egg, whatever you want to call it. And I thought that Ubisoft would have had at least something there to showcase. If you're going to showcase a 30-second trailer about what's next to come, I'm surprised they couldn't have 30 seconds of something with Lara Croft or something with Tomb Raider that showcases that, hey, this is on the horizon, so stay tuned for this. But instead, it was so vague, so bland, so generic, the 30 seconds that we got, especially if you are in this community, if you're on Reddit, if you're on the forums, if you're on YouTube paying attention to Ghost Recon, you know that the past, ever since day one, basically, the game has been okay, what do we get next? And the developers telling us, you'll get some info, quote unquote, soon.
Yeah.
So to see that at an E3, nonetheless, this wasn't just us waiting for something and getting information on the forums. Like, hey guys, we have a little teaser trailer for you, so it's up on the forums. Go check it out. Whatever, it's on YouTube. No, this is E3. And at E3, Ubisoft could only put forth for Ghost Recon, there's more coming soon in a 30-second little teaser trailer. I was absolutely flabbergasted. I was very disappointed. And it only goes to show that, well, it's really two things. One, Ubisoft Paris is probably very overworked, especially seeing the other titles that they were working on.
Oh,
I believe it was that Mario game.
yeah, dude.
And what else were they doing? Was it
Are
the
they aren't they
guitar
working on?
game, or
I
was
think
it the
was it just
Riders?
was it just Dance that they were working on as well, or
Oh,
was?
Just Dance. Maybe it was Just Dance. Yeah. So obviously they're swamped with work, and it's not just Ghost Recon. And now it makes sense as to why we're getting so little for a game that's been out for now a year and a half, did poorly in sales. Obviously, we understand now they have kept it moving with other IPs that they're working on, but you still have a quote unquote live service game that you decided to make it in this fashion, a live service game. So people are expecting something from E3. And I believe we should have, if they had enough to give us 30 seconds of something, they could have teased us for what's to come and not tease us for what's to come when we show it to you. You know, it's
Yeah,
just it
100%, man.
was yeah. So it was disappointing. I know the community was disappointed, and I'm sure you were disappointed as well. We all were.
Yeah, being the fact that I thought maybe we wouldn't see Ghost Recon in the main show because I don't think we saw it in the main show last year. We saw
Yes,
it in the pre-show,
exactly.
and the way they did the pre-show with a couple of minutes of something from a random Ubisoft game, whether it be Assassin's Creed with the character just walking, same thing with For Honor, or the lady that was riding on top of the drone in Watch Dogs, or the Crew 2.
Crew, yeah,
Yeah, like all of
exactly.
those things that broke up all of the little tidbits of actual things that they had to say. And being the fact that we got all the way through that and saw no Ghost Recon at all, not even in the B-roll footage, and then at that point we were kind of like, okay, so we are going to see it in the main show because if they didn't put it in the pre-show, we definitely going to see something in the main show. And then when we finally did get to the point where you saw Nomad and the wolves and stuff, and everybody, like, I know me personally, I was like, all right, here we go, we're gonna get something.
Go.
We're gonna
Uh-huh.
get, even if it's short, we're gonna get something. And then I didn't even think about the fact that it's the 20th anniversary of Ghost Recon as a franchise and how much the direction that the franchise has gone in those 20 years.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't even realize it was 20 years. And I thought once that came up on screen, that maybe we were going to get some brand new information that we hadn't gotten yet. Because obviously the article that went up with the year two roadmap with Operation Motherland that's coming in the fall, maybe we were going to get something brand new, some brand new information that we hadn't heard anything about yet. And then it was just, hey, we're celebrating 20 years of Ghost Recon, more info soon. And then the curtain, closed, and it was like, wait, what? So I don't know. I know that obviously the sales of Ghost Recon at launch and everything since then, and the player base and what we need to do moving forward, which is obviously why I put up the poll and tried to spread it out as much as I could on different social media websites. Um, I don't know. I feel like it was E3, the Xbox show. Personally, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff in there that I'm really gonna play. There was a couple games, but the Ubisoft just, it didn't even feel like a triple A show. Like, not to knock anything, but yeah, there was some Rainbow Six and stuff in there. But you know, from the old, thinking of the old school days when you would see a Tom Clancy, multiple Tom Clancy games. You might see a Sam Fisher game and Splinter Cell and all that kind of stuff. And then this year, the only Rainbow Six, which didn't even look like a Clancy game in the way it was in that showcase, and then 30-second teaser of whatever's possibly to come for Ghost Recon. It was a huge letdown. It was definitely a huge
Yeah.
letdown. So
Yeah. And it's funny too because I don't know how things work within this industry. I don't know how many companies were able to come together and maybe communicate and say, okay, we can showcase this. Yes, we can showcase this so that we could actually get an E3. And I understand that we're not always going to get the game that we want. That's understandable. And I don't mind not getting the game we want at a showcasing. Me being a relatively new content creator, I'm watching E3 literally all the way through for the first time. I don't think anybody actually watches E3 all the way through. You look at what you like and then you wait to see what that is and then you keep it moving. So I understand there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to see that you're not interested in. And I could understand that for Ubisoft, there might be some things such as Riders Republic. Some people might not care about that, right? Some people might want just be there for Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six.
that Riders Republic
But
did look pretty cool, though.
oh
Not gonna
yeah,
lie,
it absolutely
it
looked
definitely
cool.
surprised me.
And there are going to be situations like that. But the problem I have, and this is something that I know a lot of people are going to have issues with, and I'd like to get some feedback uh, from. I mean, I know a lot of people here are from the Ghost Recon community, but I would love to talk to people in the Rainbow Six community. I'm going to start going on those forums and really poking around there because
Yeah.
I want to know how they feel now that after about 5, 6 years of Rainbow Six Siege being out and not getting a new game, the first new real game that they're going to get, which feels more like a DLC, which is going to be a full priced quote unquote DLC,
Mm-hmm.
is this Rainbow Six Extraction, which turns a CQB, CQC, old school, game where you took yourself and your team and you went through buildings and you maneuvered and you took enemies out and now all of a sudden it's a game of aliens and you're killing aliens and now I'm really getting to the point where I'm scared and I've mentioned this before. I think Ubisoft is done with this IP, the Clancy IP, and they're just going to use it for whatever they want to use it for. And it doesn't have to do with anything of what Clancy originally, created his universe on.
Yeah.
So we'll get now Rainbow Six Extraction. We'll get Ghost Recon, whatever. We'll get, a division that they make up. And now that they move forward and you see things like Avatar, right? Huge box office draw. You know that Massive has Star Wars. Huge box office draw and potential to milk for game and game and game, one game after another. Does Ubisoft really care about the Clancy IP anymore, especially when you see that the only real Clancy games they had, Rainbow Six, Ghost Recon, and Splinter Cell, excluding the Division, which is new and that they kind of made up, right? Uh, it looks like that these are dying out or are already dead, with Splinter Cell being the first casualty, Ghost Recon a close second, but now Rainbow looks like they're coming in and being the second casualty. Can Rainbow Six even survive this next iteration with Rainbow Six Extraction? Can they turn around and just go back to making Rainbow Six a, CQC squad-based shooter, whatever we're going to define Rainbow Six as? I'm very, very worried for the Clancy IP at this point. And it's kind of scary being someone who likes this genre of games to see what they're doing. And yeah, I don't know where we're gonna be at with Ghost Recon moving forward, but if this is the direction Ubisoft is taking us, I'm nervous for the next Ghost Recon game. We might actually this is gonna be ironic for everyone out there playing Breakpoint who's like, "Ugh, I just want a new game already." Hey man, savor what you have because you have no idea what Ubisoft has in
Mm-hmm.
store for this franchise.
Very true. Real quick, get to a super chat as well as Havoc is in discussions. If you wanted to drag
Oh,
him
what up?
up,
What up?
so yeah, you could drag him up into the Discord channel that we're in because he's chilling down there.
Oh,
But
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tactical Roundtable. Havoc Gaming. Havoc, you there, brother?
Hey, I'm here.
What's up,
Thanks
dude?
for having me.
all right,
No
I'm
problem,
actually
bro.
gonna turn up your volume just a little bit. Okay,
Am I not loud enough?
you are
No,
now.
you sound great.
Yeah, you're good. Real
All
quick
right.
before I get too far down, Riley McQuillan with the $5 Canadian super chat says, "G Money, amen. Let the painter paint." A Squad, you gonna buy G Money's Recon of the Ghost? I remember you talking about the New Beginnings. Spartan 1337 is all in on it, and he's gonna love it, dude. If I
Riley, shout out
had
to
some
you, brother.
super deep pockets, we would make a new third-person tactical shooter and do this genre justice. But I don't have 60-70 million dollars laying around to do like a full studio developing a third person tac shooter um, the way that the community wants it,
Oh yeah,
the amount of
yeah.
feedback that's been on the forums and other places on what the community, and that's the thing too, is the community that we have at this point in the game's life cycle is your hardcore fans of the franchise. It doesn't necessarily mean they're fans of a very particular play style. These are the fans that want to see the genre and the franchise succeed because we've all seen how Ghost Recon Breakpoint turned out at launch and ever since then, and they're still here. We're still here. Our
Yeah.
voices should be heard on the fact of what we should do with the franchise moving forward because we're the most, I would say, committed fans of the franchise. I feel as if like our vote should count more than anything. But, are they trying to appeal to, a different player base than us
Well, here's the
necessarily?
here's the funny part about that question. The fact that if you put out a Rainbow Six game, and let's say it's Rainbow Six Extraction, we'll use this as a perfect example. You put out Rainbow Six Extraction. The people who want a Rainbow Six game aren't going to be lured to that game. They want the authentic Rainbow Six feel. The people who don't care about Rainbow Six and see a cool alien shooter aren't going to be lured to the game due to the Rainbow Six name. So this is what perplexes me about Ubisoft's decision to use these Clancy IPs to push what they want to create, because I feel like you're not going to get both types of people, A, being people who want a Clancy game who see aliens, and B, people who want aliens and see the Clancy name. Like, it doesn't matter. You could literally have made this game just Ubisoft Aliens, and the people who want that type of playstyle are going to play it, because you're not going to lure people who are Clancy fans into these games just from the name. So this is what confuses me about Ubisoft. They literally could have made a new IP and probably had just as much as success, just like The Division. I don't think people play The Division because it says Tom Clancy's The Division.
Not
They
at all.
play it yeah, they play it because they know it is a cool third-person looter shooter. Okay, this is cool. I like the style of game. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah,
It could easily just be The Division.
that didn't come from Tom Clancy. That
Yeah,
that
and
just
that's
has
the
the
point.
name that's tied to it. And I think with exactly what you're saying right now, Neon Matt 24 can even put the icing on the cake with this. And he said that he was talking to you, said, G Money, this is what the problem is. Ubisoft wants to develop new IPs and genres, but they are scared that the sales won't be what they want, so they use established IPs to change it. Similar to what I've said multiple times, whether people agree with me or not, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was not an Assassin's Creed game. That should have been a brand new IP, but they threw the Assassin's Creed name on it to help push the title. Same thing with Rainbow Six, what is it? Rainbow Six Quarantine or Rainbow Six Extraction. Same exact scenario. It's not, I mean, yes, you're using the Rainbow Six operators, yes, but it's not a Rainbow Six game. It's not a Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six game. And even at the very beginning of the trailer, they declared it a tactical shooter. That's what I was just like, oh, this is what we think a tac shooter is now. We're stealthing against the AI that's an alien.
So yeah,
picking
so
back the
now,
name.
yeah,
That's it.
now that we've dragged Havoc in, so Havoc, you saw the 30-second trailer. I'm assuming you saw the Rainbow Six Extraction gameplay. Did you?
No, I missed it. I was on my phone. I was not at home, and I was on my phone when you streamed it, and I missed a part, and I missed exactly this part where Rainbow Six and Breakpoint was.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, but I think I didn't miss much. So
No, you did. You did not. I would say that you missed a decent amount when it came to Rainbow, just because they did
Okay.
kind of go in depth with it. But with Ghost Recon, it was like 38 seconds long, and it was just a teaser of a something that might be coming. So yeah, you didn't miss much with that.
It's a shame, man.
But yeah, I think Matt said it perfectly. Like, they want to branch out, but they're scared of what might happen with a new IP, so they tie it with an established IP, which could
That goes to show you that they don't know what they're doing.
alienate both sides.
Exactly.
Like you were saying.
You go all in on the new IP, and if it fails, it fails. You move on to another one, because if it succeeds, you've destroyed one IP, in exchange for another.
Yeah.
Because now if it succeeds, oh shit, this succeeds. Keep it going this way, and now everyone else
Right.
is like, well, what about Rainbow? What about
Exactly.
So you just you suck it up and you take a chance, and if it fails, you still have Rainbow, but if it succeeds, now you have a new IP.
Exactly.
So it just seems really, I don't know, it seems like marketing stuff, psychological stuff, and I don't like it, because it's not like we have 10 Clancy games or 10 Clancy IPs that we go to. We only have really 3, like I said, and Splinter Cell is already dead.
Yeah.
They've killed it. They've merged most of those mechanics to Ghost Recon, which we've spoken about, and I don't know if they can bring that game back ever. So now what? You're going to do the same thing with Rainbow Six? You're gonna release these types of DLCs where it's aliens, and maybe the next one they bring it back and it's just all over the place. So what does that leave for Ghost Recon? Do I have to hold my breath every time there's going to be a new Ghost Recon game? Like, oh my god, is it going to be Ghost Recon Zombies the next game. It's very, very it's just it's a bit sad. I'm a bit disappointed because I know Ubisoft, I know they have the talent, I know they have the ideas. I just don't know if they have the leadership that's willing to say, "No, Ghost Recon goes this way and this new IP we're going to completely package as something else. No, Rainbow Six we package this way and this new extraction idea we're going to package as something else." They have the backing to do this. It's not like there's some little a double A company, some little indie dev company. It's Ubisoft. They can make a new IP and make it successful. They did with The Division, and like
Yeah.
I said, it didn't have to have the Clancy name attached to it. So they need to understand that look, you can have games that don't have the Clancy name attached to it. It's not Tom Clancy's Riders Republic. People are going to go out and buy it because you're riding bikes.
Yeah. And the fact that they did it with Rainbow Six Siege, with how successful and how like that game came out in 2015 and here we are
Yeah.
6 years later and it's still popping
A
because of
popular
the
esport.
yeah, and it's like that's the one that you take a chance on. Like obviously Rainbow Six Siege will still be there, but at what point do they want a Rainbow Six Siege 2? Or even like I've said multiple times, I want a Rainbow Six Vegas 3, to be honest, but where with this Rainbow Six Extraction, if like you said, what if it does really really well and they're like, oh, well maybe this is what the community really wants. Maybe we should go in this direction, and then boom, your entire Rainbow Six, actual tactical shooter genre is gone.
Yep.
That's something that I wouldn't take a chance on if I was Ubisoft because it's such an established franchise. But hey, real quick, OGTK Cole said he disagrees about Assassin's Creed. They were going to change Assassin's Creed up because the community complained. That's why you got Origins and Odyssey, which I feel like in that
Aren't they
situation,
complaining more so about how bad Unity was broken?
yeah, because wasn't that what was before Origins?
Yeah, wasn't it just that Unity was so damn broken, people were just so upset at them. And plus they were basically doing this same thing. They were spitting out these games and they were broken, they weren't ready. Were people complaining about the fact that it was broken or about the fact that they just didn't like what Assassin's Creed was anymore?
I that's the thing is like me personally, I miss the old Assassin's Creed games, and I think anybody in here that like I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan of the actual franchise, but I have not played really any game since Black Flag, which was in 2013, because I didn't really
Oh
like the
yes,
direction that they
They
went.
change a lot. They change a lot, and it
Syndicate.
lost its identity a little bit, I think.
Yeah, like I personally like the original Assassin's Creed blew my mind because it was something that was completely out of left field, like a brand new something you'd never seen before. And then with the story with Desmond and Ezio and like the time period that Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood and Revelations was set in, like the Renaissance, that man, I'm like a huge history buff and that was like such a perfect time period for me. And then Assassin's Creed 3, I mean, I felt like for the whole assassin thing, it was too far in too far modern. Like there was actual guns because it was during the Revolutionary War, and I just felt like it's like, okay, this is an assassin, it doesn't fit. And then the pirate thing, the pirate thing was cool because it was a massive open world in the Caribbean with pirates, and which I don't even know how much of an actual Assassin's Creed game that was, but it was a fun game. And I don't know, I saw a lot of people like they turned Assassin's Creed more from what it was into a modified Witcher game, which
Yes. Yep. They were definitely fans of that
Witcher
franchise.
3 was
Exactly.
one game of the year. It was a massive title. So many people loved it, and they kind of like built the future Assassin's Creed games in that image, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. And that's the reason why I say also about Assassin's Creed Odyssey not being an Assassin's Creed game. You don't even play as an assassin, at least to my knowledge. You play as a Spartan, which
Yeah, for like
I don't I
Odyssey.
don't know what the crossover was in Odyssey, if there was anything to do with the assassins and all that, but the fact that you weren't playing as an assassin, like that was just like, wait, what? because that's what they said right out of the gate. You play as either a male or a female Spartan, and I'm like, wait, what? And you're calling it Assassin's Creed? But there's a whole rabbit hole I could go down with that, and this is more of we're more talking tack shooters tonight. But real quick, Kaz has Band-Aids with the $10 super chat. Really appreciate it, bro. Says, I just hope we see something similar to classic Ghost Recon for the franchise in the future. Ghost Recon 2 was one of my favorite games growing up. Ghost Recon 2 was a really, really good game. And I've seen people say that, you know what, why don't they just remaster Ghost Recon 1 or Ghost Recon 2? It would not hold up.
No,
No matter how graphically amazing it looked, the way that it played would not hold up in today's gaming environment. It just wouldn't. That was back then. It was like, yo, this is cool. This is something different. But the way games play nowadays, it wouldn't hold up. I think the furthest
I gotta be honest. I have to finish, and then
I think the furthest you could probably go. I mean, Graw doesn't even really hold up, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's just because of the mechanics.
Yeah, and I think the farthest you could go back would be what you guys are seeing on screen, which is Future Soldier.
Future Soldier, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think you could really go back any farther than that.
No remakes. We don't need any remakes, and I have to be honest. I don't even think the first Ghost Recon, in my opinion, I didn't even really, when I first saw it back in the day, it was just like Counter-Strike. I didn't really understand the whole just a crosshair on the screen. That really turned me off, because it's not like we hadn't seen what first-person shooters were back then. And just right around the same time, I think like a year later, SOCOM had come out. So I wasn't even that big of a fan, and to try to remake those for today's market, it wouldn't even make sense.
I wouldn't mind seeing a SOCOM, because
yeah, I mean, I want to see. Everyone would love that.
Yeah, because like and I've said it before, is, you know, Ghost Recon in its current state has no competition in the third-person tact shooter genre. There is no other competition in this genre. That you know you can get on PC and console and like that whole thing. And that was the big thing back in the early days. It was SOCOM against Ghost Recon. That was that was a rival of each other. And the fact that, you know, after SOCOM kind of, you know, dwindled in its later years, and then it kind of eventually just kind of disappeared, which at this rate, who's not saying that Ghost Recon's not going down the same path? It's just a little bit delayed from the timeline that SOCOM had, you know? So
but that's the problem, because Breakpoint is the only game that it's played like this, or it's a game that is developed like it is, and they have no goal. So it's the same, like, it's a bad example, I know, but AMD versus Intel. AMD was for maybe 1 decade, Intel had no competition, and they could do whatever they want and get away with it. And as soon as AMD rises and Ryzen and give them competition, they have to do something better. And I think another game, what is similar to Breakpoint or to Ghost Recon, when this would show up with great mechanics, with great graphics, with a good story, Ubisoft would be forced to work something or work harder on the next title, or improve the current title.
Yeah,
now they have no competition, and they're just lazy.
Yeah, and the thing is too, with that, a lot of people talk about the what's it called? The zero
06.
Zero, yeah,
Behind
06 behind enemy lines. It's a good concept. What they have shown so far looks cool, but the fact that we've gotten 2 updates in the last 2 years and we still have no gameplay, like, it's an extremely small indie studio. To have real competition with Ghost Recon, some maybe AA or AAA studio has to do it with a budget. You know, I don't see any other way of doing it. You know, Ubisoft, even though the sales weren't that great with Breakpoint, they got deep pockets to make this stuff. You know, they don't make it the way I think it should be made. Which there was somebody in chat a little bit ago that said they were curious as to what I wanted for the future of the Ghost Recon franchise. We will get into that a little bit later when we start talking about the poll that I put up and start kind of discussing the current results. I believe I set the poll for like 5 days just to give it time to kind of simmer over on Reddit and a few on Twitter and stuff, and try to get, you know, a decent sample size, which, you know, the player base ain't that big on Ghost Recon right now, so, you know, you're only going to get you know, an average sample size at this point, this late in the game development and all that stuff. So, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And I did miss a $2 super chat. Let me scroll back up here. Evil Spider, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says, would you consider getting Siege creators on the tactical roundtable? And he did say something earlier about that being the fact that, you know, the direction that Rainbow Six is going, to possibly get a few people that, you know, cover and or play Rainbow Six, and get them on the podcast and talk what their opinions are about this. And that would be a good idea. That definitely would be a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
And then OGTK Cole said also, we never got Rainbow Six Patriots. Yes, that was a very controversial game, because the first trailer we saw was very controversial. I mean, I think it was in the news headlines of the stuff that happened in the trailer. And then it got scrapped. And then, you know, I don't know how many years later it was, or a year later or something, we got to see that original like teaser trailer for Rainbow Six Siege, where they showed like all of like how the game was going to work, where they kind of broke into the house and had to rescue the hostage and stuff, which it looked nothing like that at launch. It was a huge downgrade at launch. The game's obviously gotten better, and the game looks way different now than it did at launch. But yeah, and that's another thing too, is after the mass success of Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2, where did it go? Why did we never see another Rainbow Six Vegas? It was a really fun game. It had a good competitive scene. You know, with esports on the rise nowadays, I think it would excel, but now we're going to be fighting aliens instead of actual PvP, you know? So, so let's see, I don't know if you guys want to like move on into the next topic. If you guys wanted to kind of discuss anything that you guys saw during E3, whether it be,
that's what we should
no
move
Splinter
on to.
Cell. No fucking Splinter Cell.
Oh, yeah, G can roast me on this one, because I was talking about this for like the last 3 days.
You and your tinfoil hat.
Yeah, saying that it wasn't going to be shown in Ubisoft's, because Ubisoft didn't have the cojones to show it during their show. And I thought that maybe by some miracle, Xbox, Phil Spencer, I know they were chasing new IPs for Xbox and Game Pass and all that. Maybe by some shard of hope, that Phil Spencer got a hold of Ubisoft and said, hey, you know, we got a studio that could make a new Splinter Cell game. We just need you guys to license us the IP. And I thought maybe, just maybe, we'd get like a shocker at the end of the Xbox show. And I posted it up on my YouTube and Twitter and all this other stuff calling for it. And all those posts have since been deleted, just so you guys know.
No, you should have left it. That's history.
I'm sure somebody clipped that somewhere.
You gotta eat crow. That's the beauty of trying to predict things.
Yeah, and that was definitely some tinfoil hat stuff, because I think, like you were saying that entire time, he's like, dude, keep dreaming, because I think you might be right. Like, we may never see Sam Fisher Splinter Cell ever again. I don't think we're probably gonna see it with Michael Ironside, because he is definitely not getting any younger. You know, so.
But I saw something. I saw maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I don't know. I saw an interview with someone of Ubisoft, and the interviewer asked him, "What about Splinter Cell? Are you working on something?" And he was saying, "There is something incoming, but I cannot tell anymore." And
I think is that the VR game?
No.
Something else.
They talked about the main game, new main Splinter Cell.
You never know, dude. When it comes to these people, you never know what they're talking about. Was this before episode 2?
No, I think
episode 2 was episode 2 was last March.
Yeah.
So
I know, but that's the type of thing that's the type of things that they do. They say, "Oh, don't worry, it's in good hands," and then boom, you get a DLC for Ghost Recon or something.
No, they were talking about the main game, not a spin-off, not a DLC or something. They
Hold on a sec. You guys keep running with this. I'll be right back.
Havoc. It could be the VR, maybe, I don't know, or they're working on something and it's completely under wraps and they're gonna reveal it and we'll all be happy. But I don't believe that.
I mean, I lost my hopes, man. It's the 7th or 8th year now that we don't have a Splinter Cell game, and the crowd is furious, man, and I'm too, and I miss Splinter Cell, and it's just sad that they let this big Splinter Cell franchise die or rot at the moment, and nothing is happening there. I think because the sales numbers from Blacklist, they sold about 2 million copies or so, and this is simply not enough for a company like Ubisoft. And I think it's all about the profit, man. That's why they taking their time and hyping it up. Not hyping it up, but not giving you what you want for a couple of years. And then when the next comes out, the sales numbers are going up.
Yeah.
Could be a strategy.
It's definitely obviously everything is profit based. You can't be a successful company without profits. But the way Ghost Recon plays now, especially with the Breakpoint iteration, even from Wildlands, they really improve the types of stealth kills and stealth gameplay within these compounds.
Absolutely.
I really wouldn't doubt that they could have the opportunity to create a really good DLC for a Ghost Recon game that isn't as lackluster as what they gave us in Breakpoint, which was basically zero Sam Fisher, to actually give us a Sam Fisher DLC where they take Michael Ironside and they plug him into the Ghost Recon game as his own standalone DLC. I could see them doing something like that to see how it works out, where they can gauge how many people buy this specific DLC, because that would be a good way to see, will our audience flock to this game if they do something like what they did with episode 2, except on a larger scale, and to where you're actually playing as Sam Fisher and you actually have Grimm's daughter and you actually have Sam
Ollie
Fisher.
Cole.
So they could possibly do something like that. But as far as its own standalone game, I just don't know if they're ever going to come back to it, seeing how they're developing Ghost Recon. You look at the mechanics from Splinter Cell and the stealth gameplay. It's basically they've baked it all into Ghost Recon at this point, to where Ghost Recon is the best of both worlds almost. You can have your stealth, or you could have your gun shootouts, you could have your AI teammates, or you could turn them off. You could basically play Ghost Recon Breakpoint like a Splinter Cell game if you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so moving forward, unless they have really, really breakthrough ideas as to how they're going to structure mechanically a new Splinter Cell game, I don't know how they're going to justify making one. And I had thought about this with A Squad earlier on how the old original Splinter Cell, I believe it was after Double Agent. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that footage, but it looks like that turned into basically the new Watch Dogs franchise, where Sam Fisher was walking around and he was getting into fights. And I think this would have been a good place to take Sam Fisher's character, meaning, what if Sam Fisher, the franchise, mechanically evolved into some type of Jason Bourne character where it's stealth gameplay, but once you get into real CQC situations, it's real like fast, hard hit 'em combat. And then I'm trying to think of what type of gadgets can you use moving forward, because you have to understand, now that we have Ghost Recon, now that we have Watch Dogs, they've kind of put themselves in a place where Splinter Cell is hard to survive on its own, because you have the hacking and everything in both games, you have the gunplay in both games, you have the stealth in both games. Where do you put Sam Fisher now that you've done this? And it's almost as if they were willing to let Splinter Cell die to try to have Watch Dogs emerge as the IP into which where they wanted to take Splinter Cell in the first place. So it's questionable as to uh, if it makes sense from a financial point of view, if they're ever going to bring Splinter Cell back, especially with what you said. Blacklist did not do great. I believe it did it peak at I think the first one might have sold the most. I'd have to Google it, but I think by the
I
time
think
we got the
Chaos
double,
Theory. Chaos
Did
Theory
it peak at
sold the
Chaos
best.
Theory?
Yeah, Chaos Theory was the peak. I think the first one and Chaos Theory, these two are fighting for the number one spot in terms of sales. But the problem is they've effed it up with Conviction. Conviction was something nobody wanted, and I think the sales of Blacklist went down because of Conviction. Because the people thought, okay, that's the same shit. I don't want this. I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, I think
And
part of
No,
Blacklist too just was it technically wasn't Ubisoft's fault, but the fact that it wasn't Michael Ironside. I think a lot of people there was quite a few people that got
yeah,
turned off the fact that we didn't have him voicing Sam Fisher like every other game leading up to it, which and I think we've talked about this before on the roundtable, but some people may not know it, but that was Michael Ironside's choice. That wasn't
yeah.
Ubisoft's choice.
dude, it's but you know what? It's the fans. I'm telling you. Look at this. Ready? This is a rough estimate from VG charts. It's us. We failed Splinter Cell, right? The first Splinter Cell on the Xbox, 3 million sales. Pandora Tomorrow, 1.48. Chaos Theory, 1.1. Double Agent
Well,
didn't even break a million. And then Conviction on the 360, 2 million. Blacklist, 1 million. That's all Xbox. Now I could read PlayStation, but it's the same thing. The first Splinter Cell did the best. As the iterations went on, even though we loved Chaos Theory, it didn't sell as good as the first one. By the time they got to Double Agent, they realized, yo, dude, this shit is dead. We're not even selling a million copies here. Double Agent, under
but
a
I
million
think they
for
would
Xbox.
now. But I think they would now because the
But
people
that's
are
not the point.
hungry
Oh
for
yeah.
for
That's not
for
the
Splinter
point.
Cell.
That's not the people, the quote unquote, the people are hungry, but we're the people. And if you go by these numbers, we don't like it doesn't matter. The numbers matter. And if
Yeah.
10 and if 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, Blacklist went, after Conviction and Blacklist, where they kind of revamped it, they made it a little more fast paced, or you could play slow, but whatever, etc. It still
Mhm.
barely sold a million copies. And so for them now to sit here and say, oh, the few people on YouTube or Reddit are the people on Twitter. They want the Splinter Cell. They want it. They want it. Well, you guys didn't want Blacklist. You guys didn't want Conviction. You sure as hell didn't want Double Agent. You presume you hold chaos theories to this standard of excellence. Yet a million of you barely bought it. PlayStation 2, 0.95 million copies sold. Xbox, 1.1 million copies sold. They're like, why come back to that when they could just, okay, we'll just add these mechanics in Ghost Recon and keep it moving. This is the type of
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah.
scares me.
And do you know the numbers of Ghost Recon?
No, but I could try to
Well,
look them
Ghost
up.
Recon Wildlands on the Xbox, like Xbox One generation, sold over 10 million copies.
Yeah.
Wildlands did, which was a huge success. I think in the first year, it sold almost 2 million copies, which in the first year of a new kind of game like that, that was big. Breakpoint, oof. I don't know if I
Yeah,
want. I don't
but
know.
they did. You know what they did? I think they're doing the same to Splinter Cell now, because when was the last game before Wildlands?
Future
When
Soldier
was
in
the last?
2012. So 5 years.
2012. So they took their time. They let the people, the consumers, wait for another Ghost Recon, and then they brought something good out, and the people bought it. And I think they're trying the same with Splinter Cell now.
That's a
They let you.
long time, though. That's a
Well,
long
Yeah,
gap.
yeah, it's 7 years, 8 years now.
Here's the one thing that can back that up is the fact that when you have this Netflix show that's going to come out and you start promoting it outside of gaming,
Yeah,
now you have a marketing tool to say, hey, how did the Netflix show do? How many people saw it? How many people tuned in? Who's watching it? And then you can gauge, would it be worth it to make a game now? But I don't think that they have anything, in the works right now. That's my assumption. I think maybe in the future, with this new Splinter Cells animated series on Netflix, they can gauge if it'll be popular enough to maybe be worth it to put out a game. But I don't know. I don't know. I really think the way Ubisoft thinks, especially seeing with Rainbow Six, We're shooting aliens in Rainbow Six. Why the hell would they want to go backwards to a stealth game when they could just say, hey, put that in Breakpoint. Put a DLC in Breakpoint. Let them play Sam Fisher, which they should have done basically. I'm sorry, not Breakpoint, Ghost Recon. Put a DLC in the next Ghost Recon game, which is what they should have done for Breakpoint instead of this lousy DLC we got in Breakpoint. Let us play as Sam Fisher. Give the people what they want. You can drive, both fans into this one genre maybe. But as far as them creating a standalone game, I want it so bad. But when I look at these sales of Splinter Cell, of all these games, and then I look at what they're doing to Rainbow Six, I look at what they've done to Ghost Recon or tried to do to Ghost Recon, which failed miserably because the Ghost Recon community did not bite and still refuses to bite. And what they've done to Assassin's Creed, everything is evolving and changing, but not for what the original fan base wants. So why
You,
bring back Splinter Cell if they're changing everything anyway?
you know what we need? We need to start a movement like hashtag Save Splinter Cell or something, because it works for the TV shows. Look at this when you see canceled TV shows and the people want to see it, and they start a movement like hashtag Save It, whatever. Lucifer is the best example for it, or one of many examples. And if enough people are demanding it, another streaming service like Netflix pick it up, and now it's the third season on Netflix.
That's a
And
damn
it's the
good
same.
show too.
Yeah, it is, but it's canceled it after the third season, and because of the demand of the viewers, they made a hashtag Save Lucifer or whatever, and now Lucifer is getting or got 3 more seasons on Netflix because
See,
someone else picked it up.
yeah, and the thing too is when you think of all the Splinter Cell games, it was Ubisoft Shanghai in partnership with Ubisoft Montreal that made Splinter Cell. And if you look at what Ubisoft Shanghai has been doing, so they did Far Cry New Dawn, they did Just Dance 2019, Just Dance 2020, which, like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but it can't be that hard to make a Just Dance game. Like, there's other studios that probably could make that. Why do you have... I don't know. And I didn't even actually realize this, that Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter was made by Ubisoft Shanghai. The first one. I don't know about the second one. It doesn't show the second one.
And I'm pretty sure Shanghai made Pandora Tomorrow.
They made them all. They made the original Splinter Cell, Double Agent. They made Tom Clancy's Endor, Tom Clancy's Pandora Tomorrow.
Shanghai didn't make the original Splinter Cell.
That's what it says.
No, they helped. If you're looking at
Ubisoft Shanghai and Ubisoft Montreal was the developers.
Sure. Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure Shanghai. I'm pretty sure Montreal made the first one. Maybe Shanghai helped.
Yeah.
Shanghai made the second one while Montreal was making Chaos Theory.
Okay.
It was changing, right?
Well,
game.
Regardless, your point stands. Like, they have so many studios, why not? But then we have to realize, yo, dude, they don't want to. They want to make Aliens and Witcher 3s and Magic and they want
money. That's it, man.
They want, they're looking at the market and oh my God, The Last of Us, amazing. Let's
Evil
do this.
Spider says that's not a dick thing to say. He said that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and that's the thing is I've even seen it. Like, some of the guys that I watched do after E3. I saw all the trailers. I saw all the stuff that was shown in E3. I don't know if this is just me personally, but I love going back and watching like people react to the trailers to just see their reaction of a trailer, see their, like love for a game or something, like for instance that. And there's been multiple E3s in a row where there's been multiple people that I watch these reactions afterwards, and then afterwards it's always like, damn, still no Splinter Cell. And it's not even somebody that like covers any Ubisoft title. They cover like Call of Duty, or they cover racing games, or they cover, PC games and stuff like that. And then it's just like at the end of E3, it's like, damn, still no Splinter Cell. Because the demand is there. If they did it right and they marketed it right, it would. I said this the other day when I was.
Huge.
It could be a Game of the Year contender if they do it right, because of the cult following that it has. I don't know. I don't know what's going on and the upper
Maybe they're not willing
management.
to taking the risk,
That's
or
the
not
thing.
yet.
I mean, at this point, it's like, well, the franchise has been gone for almost a decade. At this point, you can't really hurt the franchise from then if you put out a game and it flops. Like, do you leave it dead or do you take a chance? Like, it was, what was it, 2000? When did it release? Was it 2012? 2013?
Blacklist?
2013.
2013? Yeah,
What we
so
talking about? Blacklist?
yeah.
Blacklist, yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure it's 2012.
I know that the
2013.
E3, I think it was 2013 because the E3 trailer that was the gameplay that we never actually got in the actual game was 2012.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
But, and that's the thing too, is if you look back at the interviews with Michael Ironside during the Wildlands DLC, and then there was even a couple during the Breakpoint DLC, he's totally on board for more. Like, he's the fact that
Absolutely.
the Wildlands one, which was where he kind of went in depth with the whole, reasoning why he stepped away, being the fact that he had like 3 forms of cancer and he only had like a 30% chance of survival, and somehow he survived. And he's like, Sam never left. He's like, I'm Sam Fisher. I just wanted to leave it. Yeah, I wanted to leave it in good hands because he's like, I honestly thought I was gonna die. So he worked with what it was, Eric Johnson, I think his name was. Worked with him. He was on set through all of the motion capture and all the dialogue and everything for Blacklist, but they wanted to be able to. They just wanted to go in that direction, and he wanted to leave it in good hands. But he's down for more. He would love to do more. And I still said during like the Wildlands DLC, you fly this dude up and record a bunch of in-game dialogue, because obviously he didn't do the motion capture. But you do all this dialogue for a DLC that in Wildlands was one mission with a little bit of pre-mission and post-mission dialogue? Really? Like, you bring the legend himself, Michael Ironside, up for that? Like, you
Nothing.
don't... Like, let that dude go. Let him loose. Let him do a dialogue for an entire game. It just... Because you can go back on YouTube and find, like, where he went into the studio and, like, talked about turning the whole role of Splinter Cell down like 2 or 3 times, and then him capturing stuff in the studio because he's more of like a reaction actor, and like in there it's just voice acting. You're literally reading off a script into a microphone with nothing in front of you. But I don't know. Like I said, this is one of them topics too that's just a deep rabbit hole that we could kind of go on and on about. But the fact that here we are another year, and
Sylvester says in chat, and this is perfect. Yo, Ubisoft, they're not trying to innovate, man. They're chasing trends.
Agreed.
So the thing about like with Assassin's Creed, with their type of style of play when they change it up, is that The Witcher was a success because the developers made a game the fans wanted to play. Ubisoft turns around, they chase that trend, and then boom, you get Assassin's Creed that looks like this. So now you have Rainbow Six looking like zombies. Now you have, Splinter Cell that's gone because there's no one else in the industry making stealth games, maybe except IO Interactive or maybe, a game here and there.
That's like you said the other day. That would imagine a Splinter Cell game made by IO Interactive.
Yeah, or like something that resembled it. Maybe that's how they could mechanically create it with different ways of getting through a mission. Like they can think of a way to do it. They just don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot on their plate with other games that they feel are going to be more successful than some of these games that were from a generation that might not even play video games anymore,
Yeah.
We're definitely I don't know, I was possibly a small minority. But that's the thing is like I said, you see people that don't even play games a lot. They're like, yo, well, I'd love to see a new Splinter Cell. I grew up with Splinter Cell.
They're a part of it though, dude. Like just reading off those sales, Ubisoft isn't trying to sell a game that could sell 1 or 2 million. They're trying to sell 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million copies of a game. Look at Cyberpunk. They hyped up a game for how long? They had the greatest marketing team. It was a freaking shit show of a game, totally broken, bro. They sold like 13 million copies.
Yeah.
That's what Ubisoft wants.
If the dev team was as good as the marketing team, this game would be game of the decade, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now moving forward, because I feel like we can get lost here.
Yeah.
Havoc, did you see the Battlefield actual gameplay?
No, I just saw the trailer, the
The
first
reveal
trailer.
trailer. Okay,
Yeah, I didn't saw
but
the gameplay trailer.
now
Oh
Ace
yeah,
Guard,
no,
you
no,
saw
no.
it?
I did saw it. I did saw it, and it was but wasn't a long one. I think 3 or 4 minutes, right?
Yeah, well, it was the gameplay. It was
Yeah.
today. They had the gameplay
Yes, yes,
trailer at
yes.
the Xbox
I saw it.
showcase.
I
Ace
saw
Wad,
it.
you were in the stream watching it? You saw it, right?
Yes, I did see it. I like it. I obviously I'm a fan of Call of Duty. I like the
Okay,
smaller, the
first
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead, go
I
ahead, go
just
ahead.
I just want a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
60 thumbs up. Okay, so 60,
Thumbs up.
70 thumbs up. Cool. How about chat? One for yes, two for no. $60, $70 title, only 7 maps,
Oh,
just multiplayer. Is it a buy or is it a pass?
see that
One for
Uh,
when you tack that little detail onto the end of it,
yeah, you
that's
get me wrong. You get me wrong here.
well,
No,
that's what it
no.
is. It's a full price game, just multiplayer right now. But it's Battlefield. Are people willing to pay $60, $70 for Battlefield 6 just multiplayer? One for yes, two for no.
I will say that
I would like to see the 200 plus people here. Are you purchasing a game? Because look, before we get into this is what I want to say, and hold that thought. Don't forget about it, right? After looking at the sales of Blacklist, right? Let's talk about market trends. How do we change how the market works? How do we change how these publishers and these developers create games? This is how you do it. If everybody goes out there and buys a $60, $70 game just multiplayer,
We'll continue with this shit.
you're letting the market know, hey, you know, Warzone, wait, why are we putting out a free battle royale? Let's do this ourselves. Let's Call of Duty, boom, this game, boom, that game. Before you know it, multiplayer games are being sold separately from single player games. This is being sold separately from that. So this is a big this to me is something where people need to recognize that they play a part in how the market moves. So this is relevant to Splinter Cell, where we think so many people want it, but really it's under 1 million who actually bought the game, especially Chaos Theory, which is supposedly the greatest Splinter Cell game. And now you have a Battlefield game that's right off the bat. They're not trying to oversell you. They're saying, hey, we have a game. It's full price. It's only 7 maps, but they're huge maps for next gen and PC. It's going to be 128 players, 64 v 64. See, we have some twos here. We have some ones here. What do we think about this going down this direction? What do we think about Battlefield? How did the gameplay look? And is this something we should be scared of moving forward, where we see developers just working on something like this, where it's just multiplayer and we're paying full price for it?
um
Um,
yeah, that's
It's a lot to take
I
in.
think with, like, for instance, the reason that they did this with multiplayer only was obviously the scale that they went. And then if you look back on, like, the Battlefield campaigns, they probably was running numbers on the fact that 80% plus don't play the campaign, and a lot of people were wanting to go back to modern times with multiplayer. A lot of people didn't like necessarily Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, that did, I believe, have campaigns that were in a time period that just wasn't appealing to a lot of people, and they wanted to concentrate their resources. They had multiple, like, this wasn't just DICE. They had multiple, like, the Need for Speed game got put on hold because that studio was helping with this. And then the new studio, DICE LA, because the main DICE team and DICE LA ran by, I think it's Vince Zampella now, the guy that basically the COD father, and then the guy that made Titanfall and Apex Legends is the lead developer on DICE now, and DICE LA, and they had them all working on it because it's, especially this year, when back in when it was the two first person shooters, the two juggernauts that were always going against each other was Call of Duty and Battlefield. And the fact that this year around Call of Duty is brave enough to try to go back to World War II, and now you have Battlefield going modern, this is their shot. This is their shot to kind of get back some of that market share, I guess you could say. And
Warzone, yeah.
and that's the thing too, is there isn't a battle royale at launch, but there is no way in hell that there's not going to be one. They're definitely making one that might release maybe spring of next year, but they're hyping up obviously the launch of the game, and then after the launch, after 6 months, that's just like Call of Duty. After 6 months, the player base, starts to die down a little bit. But with Battlefield, you can make dedicated servers, you can rent servers, you can make custom servers to however you want, which helps. But then you release a free-to-play battle royale from a company that knows how to make big maps. That's all they do is make big maps. I honestly feel as if they did it and did it right, it would definitely rival, if not take a big chunk of players away from Warzone. Because Warzone still at its core is a Call of Duty game that's not necessarily designed for like long engagements and stuff like that. Like Battlefield has been built from the ground up for the last 20 years for that kind of gameplay. They just needed, like, Firestorm was a shit show. That one, the little battle royale thing that they had in Battlefield 5, when they basically said, hey, it's 64 players, and everybody was like, that's not a battle royale. That's 64 players. That's the same amount of players you got in your multiplayer games. You tell me that's all you can do? And then if they could do, a battle royale with 150 players in a Battlefield map with, like, Levolution and everything, with Frostbite and all that kind of stuff, it would definitely steal players from Warzone. So
absolutely,
but from my personal perspective of this, I'm not spending $70 on it. I'm gonna spend more because I'm gonna be getting the edition that comes with all the battle passes and everything for the first year. So in the long run, I'm technically saving money. Yeah. But it's just, I'm excited about another modern Battlefield game. I didn't really play a lot of the Battlefield campaigns. I do see your point, though, of this trend. If this, becomes wildly successful, hey, maybe we will make a campaign, but we'll sell the multiplayer and then also sell the campaign separate for $20 so we can double dip. And it is EA. I would say that EA is probably the second greediest company in gaming behind Activision. So, yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from, but it's definitely a must-buy for me, personally. So, and the one mechanic that I saw from the gameplay trailer, too, that I have no idea why it's... Well, not... See, I think the tornado is kind of cheesy, to be honest. I like dynamic weather.
It's going to be part of the lore.
Yeah, but I like the dynamic weather. If, like, for instance, you go into a map and it could be sunny at the start, or you go into that same map another time and it's thunderstorming at the start and then it gets sunny towards the end, and vice versa, or there's fog and different weather. That's cool. The tornado, I think, is a little bit much, but the mechanic that I loved, and I still don't understand why more companies don't use it, was when they were in the elevator and he flipped up his gun and he was swapping out attachments on his gun on the fly. Yeah. That's cool. Like, it's not necessarily realistic because you ain't gonna be hauling all that shit around in your pockets, but it was cool. It definitely allowed for, especially in Battlefield, there's a lot of long range engagements, and then if you get into a specific spot like that where it's like, crap, we're going inside of a building, you take 5-10 seconds out of the action, you throw on like a red dot and extended mag and some other stuff that's going to help you in those CQC engagements. It was cool because it wasn't going into a menu and selecting it. It literally just popped the gun up and you're just swapping stuff out right there. Didn't go into a menu, didn't break immersion. I thought it was cool.
It will be a Underworld tornado launcher.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I do like the fact that they didn't take themselves too seriously. Like, it's Battlefield, but they weren't like, yo, we're gonna make this ultra real. Because you ain't gonna wingsuit into a tornado and not die. Like, you're gonna get hit by something and you're toast, But the fact that they didn't take themselves too seriously, and it looks like they definitely left it open for, being that it's kind of set in a near future setting, which gives them more flexibility with weapons and vehicles and all sorts of other stuff. I think it was definitely the right choice, but I personally thought the tornado was just a little bit cheesy.
But I liked it somehow. I mean, it looked cool. And if
it did look cool.
I mean, it can change the outcome of a match. For example, you have decimated the team with 64 players and now there are only 10 left or whatever, and you have a team with 35, 40 players left, and suddenly a tornado hits you and decimates you to 5 players to 10 players for some reason. And then the whole dynamic of the match could change through this.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. The fact that it is like 7 maps, and that's the thing, it's 7 7 maps at launch for that specific all-out warfare mode. And there was the other mode, which I don't even know what the second mode, what they called it. I think is going to be different. It's going to have other maps and stuff, or smaller maps, or different maps for that mode. And then they already did confirm that there's going to be a third mode that's going to be revealed at EA Play, which I think is in July, that they basically said is a love letter to the Battlefield community from all of the previous Battlefield games, which it has to be Rush. It has to be a Rush game mode on like a crazy 128 player scale. Rush mode with like some dynamic crazy stuff. I don't think of anything else when I think of like Battlefield. Like the early days of Battlefield for me was always playing Rush. I didn't get into Conquest until like late in Battlefield 4. It was always Rush, and I feel like that would be the third mode, which would have specific maps or specific laid out maps for that mode, because that mode plays a very specific way. But yeah, what do you think, G?
It looks chaotic. It looks like they had to go so above and beyond that they purposefully came up with this idea of, not only is it 2041 whatever, but the lore behind it obviously is like the world's ending, whatever, resources, this, that, and the other. The weather's crazy. It's kind of like this end of days type thing. So they could input so much chaos into the game, because I think we're so what's the word, like sensualized, like we're so uh we're hit with so much shit, like dopamine hits us so much, between whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all these trailers, video games, that the only way they could have taken this was to have this immense freaking crazy weather on top of what they already are known for, which are huge maps and the Battlefield gameplay.
Yeah,
So
Quint
what
Ahab
happened?
said it best, and I see Havoc replied to him. He said
Uh,
Battlefield this year is like a Michael Bay movie.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, that's perfect. It's a perfect
that's perfect.
analogy.
That's basically sums up what I'm trying to say. Like they went so far with how these mechanics are going to work with destruction, and you're in the middle of a fight and all of a sudden, holy shit, it's a tornado. We got to move. Like maybe that's their way of creating movement and destruction and having things that are different, but it looks crazy, and I think I'm getting to the point where I'm so, like, I'm yearning for something that's going to fill the void of what Breakpoint or games or like games like Ghost Recon, whether it was Wildlands, and before that it was Metal Gear, and before that, I'm looking for something that's going to be like, okay, this is going to be amazing. And if it's going to be multiplayer, it might be fun. Normally, I'd probably pass. I've said this to you guys. The last Battlefield game I played was Battlefield 3. So it's been a while for me, whether it was a Battlefield game. I don't play Call of Duty games. So I'm looking forward to possibly getting it. I probably am going to get it. If I was not this up and coming, trying to be a content creator,
Mm,
I would probably, I'm trying here, I'm trying, but I would probably pass if I was just some guy who just played video games. I'd probably look at it and be like, I don't think I want to play this. As a content creator with now a Discord full of people who's going to be like, yo, I'm getting this. Are you getting this? There's a chance where it's going to be a little bit more fun, whether it's streaming it with my community, whether it's streaming it and playing with my community, or you guys, if you get it. I think that's going to be the real draw for me. As far as anything else, I'm going to have to see a lot more, because like what Abyss said, he said a while ago, he said it here and he said it in my chat. I want to see a lot more unscripted gameplay, because obviously even the quote unquote real gameplay, in game gameplay, I guess that's redundant, but it's still scripted. It's still fake. So I'd like to see real, footage where it's just someone playing what it really looks like in the flesh, with nothing scripted that makes it look, completely chaotic like a Michael Bay movie. But at the
mm,
end of the day, as someone who is trying to find new things to play, new things to do, new content to create. I think it's gonna be a good draw to purchase and enjoy. And during that time, I think Operation Motherland will be out at that time anyway. So, it could switch from Battlefield to Ghost Recon to whatever else might be out at that time. So I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah, me too. I think I will pick it up because of the content creation, live streaming on my channel and everything. But if I wouldn't do that, I probably wouldn't buy the game.
Yeah, right. You get to the point where you're
Yeah,
like, all right, I'm doing this YouTube thing. This looks like something that could be cool.
yeah,
And especially when you have a community in Discord and everything, it's cool to, all right, yo, you playing it, let's get together and play. So,
exactly.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
agree
that's
with that.
and that's the thing too is like Battlefield is obviously it's first person. It's a completely different genre than Ghost Recon.
Oh, yeah.
And I wish, and that's the thing is I've talked to you about this before, G, and the fact that we kind of pinned ourselves in a corner, so to speak, when it comes to the YouTube algorithm, being the fact that we
Yeah.
cover what we cover and
Yeah.
how we cover it has basically put us in a box that if we make any other content other than this, it goes nowhere. Even
Yeah.
and I've seen it even to the point where everybody that has notifications turned on, and I have a pretty decent sized notification squad. That I noticed that as soon as because I have a second channel, a secondary account that I usually I'll open it up after I put up a video just to see if the notifications get pushed out, just to monitor that. And like once the notification gets pushed out, I mean, there's usually on most videos that related to Ghost Recon, 1,000 views very shortly after that. So I have a decent notification squad. But if it's a video, even Ghost Recon related, that's not news, it doesn't do it. It's got to be
Yeah.
news. It has to be a news video on this channel about Ghost Recon, or it, so to speak, flops. What would be the ultimate dream for me, based off of like the E3 that we saw today? I would absolutely love to cover Forza Horizon 5 on this channel, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing.
Do it. Who cares? Do it.
Nobody
Yeah, but do
in
it.
here, nobody
We're
would
having
watch
fun.
that because like,
Well, all
oh,
right. So you know what? All right. So we put in some time with Battlefield. We talked a little Ghost Recon. Let's flip up the tactical roundtable for 5-10 minutes. What does everybody think of Forza Horizon 5? Is it A Squad? This is a buy for you, I assume.
100%. Well, it's in Game
100%.
Pass day one, so I don't even have to pay for it.
Oh, okay. So Game Pass. So now, what about chat? Is this the type of other type of game that you guys?
Caleb Garner with a bunch
go
of
play?
rips in the chat. That's basically what it would be, dude. Because, and that's the thing too that scares me sometimes. It's like, okay, if I put up this other content, is it gonna alienate some people and they won't come back for the content that they subscribed? That's what worries me.
That sucks. Yeah, that sucks.
And it's like, and not, and this may sound like a dick, and there might be a few people that unsubscribe because of this, but if you unsubscribe from my channel because I covered something other than Ghost Recon, then you don't necessarily belong here. Because like
Yeah, I mean,
I love covering Ghost Recon. I love covering even like other tactical shooters and stuff like that. But like, I would, dude, how much fun I would have, because I love Forza. I love Forza Horizon. All the Forza Horizon games are fun because of like the online play and playing with other people and running into random people in the open worlds that are in there, because you have like 80 players in this map that are all real players that are all driving whatever car that they modified and souped up and painted. And it's just, and especially with Forza Horizon 5, that map. Oh, this is the first Forza Horizon game that's,
it looked amazing.
yeah, that's fully developed for next gen. Like, it's fully
it
developed
looks
for next
great.
gen, and you could tell. And it's the largest map they've ever made, and the different environments. And I've always loved racing games. I'm super competitive in everything that I play, but something just about driving some fast cars in an open world where there's really no rules of where you can and can't drive is like a
Yeah.
perfect thing. So
It's a perfect time to get a 30 series card for that.
see, I got the Series X, so I could just basically stream it at 4K, because they did confirm that it's 4K 60 with ray tracing on the Series X, which I have the Series X. So
Yeah, but it's not as on PC.
no, but it would look better
gonna be
if I
good.
streamed it from my Series X than it would
Yeah.
streaming it from my current rig.
Yeah.
because it's only got a stock 1080. So,
Mm.
but also, what do we got here? Blake Fountain with the $4.99 super chat. It didn't say anything with it, but he did say right
shout out to
after
Blake.
that, he did say, told G Money you was gonna be next, A Squad. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I got you. I got what you're saying. And then let me scroll down through here. Forza Horizon 5 looks fire. I would watch Forza Horizon 5 stuff. Yeah, fully honest, I don't care at all for Forza's 128,000 rocks or whatever the hell. Forza is amazing. I'd watch a Forza stream on either yours or G's stream. I'm a Forza fan, so definitely also in Game Pass. I still hope to see news for the new Gran Turismo. Not a big into racing games. I would not watch any Forza content, to be honest. I'd just skip it. Not a fan of racing games. So see, he would skip it, but he wouldn't just be like, "Oh, I'm out of here," because he's not covering Ghost Recon. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But you would, to be honest, I think you would gain other subscribers that are interested in other games.
Well,
right.
it's tough. It's tough because of how the algorithm pushes you out. If your own community doesn't click on it, that means the algorithm is not going to think that people want to watch it. So you're basically, the algorithm thinks it's like you have a channel of 100 subs. So it's hard to grow from that
Yeah.
point with something new. But moving forward from there, we touched on a little bit of Forza Horizon 5. Let's move on to Halo. Because
Halo multiplayer looked fire.
Dude,
That looked good.
I haven't played Halo since Halo 1, all right? Back in the days where someone said it here, you're on the couch and you're just relaxing with your friends. That's the last time I played Halo with all of my friends back, during my college days. And I got to tell you, I'm going to be excited for Halo because one, it has a campaign, and then two, it has the multiplayer. So that's going to be really fun, and I'm going to enjoy picking that up as well. So, I know this is the Tactical Roundtable. A lot of us come here for Ghost Recon discussions, and when Ghost Recon discussions are light, we can talk about things like Rainbow Six, with what's going on with Extraction or other things. But I'm actually a little excited moving forward because we have Halo, we have Battlefield, and on top of that, I think maybe we could try to chat. You should help me out here. Maybe we could try to get A Squad to purchase a little Arma 3. And,
Dude, with some of
we
the
can move
mods in that, it looks, you could practically make it a Ghost Recon game with the mods that are in there.
Yeah.
And
And then
so
moving forward from there, there's also 6 days of in Fallujah that is not, we don't know where that is at yet in the development process, but things are looking okay for people who want to enjoy these types of games. They're not necessarily third-person shooters, which a lot of us enjoy about Ghost Recon, but a lot of us are just going to have to hold our nose and pick up something like a Battlefield, pick up something like maybe a Halo, which obviously is in its own category. Halo is not, we can't pretend it's a quote unquote tactical shooter. It's Halo.
No.
right, but the fact that
It's
too,
Halo.
Yeah.
Halo's multiplayer is free to play.
But the multiplayer, man, when that looked really good, man. It
It
looked
did.
fun. It wasn't as chaotic as Battlefield
Right.
with with
It
everything
did look
going
it
on.
did look really good. It kind of threw me back to like Halo 2 Combat Evolved. Some of the
Yeah,
stuff that you
so
saw in there, which was the last, I mean, hey, I did play some Halo 3, but yeah,
okay,
I'm
there you
not
go.
really a big Halo person, but multiplayer is fun. I would definitely dabble in this new multiplayer. And especially when you think of one, it's a free to play multiplayer. Two, it's coming to Game Pass day one for free if you're already subscribed, which by then Game Pass might be up to like 30 million subscribers. So you're injecting a Halo game into an ecosystem that already has 30 million players, and then you're
Yeah.
introducing the full multiplayer free to play for everyone. Like the player base in that multiplayer, even people that don't play Halo, they're gonna be like, "Yo, Halo multiplayer is free. I'm gonna check that out." Like I would love to see numbers, analytics on how many players is on that game, like right around launch, like how many people are actually playing it, because you're talking easily 40 to 50 million players, I would
So
think.
you have Game Pass. I'm assuming it's a play/buy for you.
Yes,
You're gonna play the single player as well.
I think I will check out the single player.
Okay. Havoc, is Halo a purchase for you?
be honest, I didn't play Halo since the first Halo, like you, and I'm not sure. I didn't see
Sure.
any new Halo trailers or something.
Okay, so you
So
missed it. You missed the E3
I
Halo
missed it.
reveal.
Yeah, I
Okay.
missed it. And if it's good, if it's good content, I might pick it up.
Okay.
Like I said,
Sweet.
I will pick up Breakpoint, Battlefield, I think.
Yes.
But and we could do some content together.
Yeah.
This would be fantastic. But
Yeah.
I'm
But
not sure about Halo
Halo is a
because
maybe.
it's a because I'm so many years out of Halo. That's why I I forgot the name of the guy. What's his name? Sergeant something or Captain? Don't roast me for that, please. But I even forgot the name. I even forgot the
You
name
talking
of
about
the
Halo?
the
You talking
hero.
about Master
Talk
Chief?
about Master Chief.
Halo, Master Chief. Yeah, Master Chief. That's it. Please, guys, please don't roast me for that in the
That's
chat.
living
But
on that's
Captain or
living on the
Sergeant?
internet
Yes.
forever.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
Somebody
man.
living on
clip
the
it.
internet
Somebody
forever.
clip it.
Clip it.
Oh my god, this will be my downfall. No, man. I just I'm too many years out of this game.
Yeah.
But if it's good and if it's good content and a good game and the people want to see it, yeah, for sure I'm gonna pick it up and do stuff with it. But compared to you guys, I'm still small and it will take time to grow, of course. And I don't know. Maybe it will help. We'll
Okay,
see.
so now for a chat, it was about 170 plus people here. If you can, Halo, 1 for yes, 2 for no. 1 that you're gonna pick it up, 2 that it's a pass for you. I'd like to get, a sense of the community that stops by here for the tactical roundtable, whether we're talking about, a Forza Horizon or we're talking about a Battlefield, are people locked into just Ghost Recon and then that's it? Or do you guys play other things? Are you open to something like a Halo? Are you interested in Halo? Were you waiting for it? I was anticipating the Xbox showcase because I wanted to I wanted to see Halo and I wanted to see Fable 2, but we didn't
There
get that
you go. The ones, man. The ones are
one.
coming.
Yes, I know
Look at this.
some of you don't have PC or Xbox, so I know you'll be excluded like Matt. I understand that. But yeah, so some good ones in there. So if you do have a PC, remember you will be able to get it on PC. So one when I get a Series X. Okay, so some ones, some twos. All right, good. So we got a little mix of things. So that
Yeah,
is what
mostly
it is.
ones.
One on my computer, probably. Yeah, I'm probably gonna play it on my computer. I'm not gonna go out there and buy a Series X
Yeah.
just for a couple games.
And kind of moving with that forward, DeMar Hall, I was going to try to touch on this before the end of the stream too. What about Stalker 2? Stalker 2, I was actually pretty impressed with Stalker 2. It definitely
Which one was
looks...
Stalker 2? I saw
That
so
was the
many
first
games.
person shooter when you were in Chernobyl. Like the exclusion zone in
Oh,
Chernobyl
it
when
had a
everybody
little
was talking
magic.
in Russian and
It had
stuff.
a little magic to it, didn't it?
That's like radioactive stuff. Like that's not
Yeah. But it seemed like he was picking up stuff and it was like, and it
Yeah,
was
that
like then
yeah.
the gun seemed the gun had like a freaking lasers on it or something. It was like it was electrified or something.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing too is like I didn't play the first Stalker, so like I know that there's like mods for Stalker where they kind of turned it into other stuff that a lot of people enjoyed more than like the actual Stalker stuff. But I don't know. I'm not when it gets out there like that. I'm like, it's kind of almost like a no. It looked kind of cool, but
Yeah. It looked cool, but here's the thing. With so many first person games to play, and for me so many just really means like a couple, because if I just get Battlefield, like that'll take up most of my hunger for that type of genre. I
yeah.
won't need to, I already have Tarkov. I haven't even
Oh,
dove into Tarkov that much. So
I
for
still think
me,
that could be run on next gen consoles. Obviously, the key binding thing would be the issue, but
yeah, yeah. But outside of that, some Tarkov. If 6 Days of Fallujah comes out, that's something I'd be interested in. Halo is different, but it's another first person. Battlefield. After all of that, I don't need to look at all of these other types of games and be like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that. Like I'm good after that
yeah.
point.
But real quick too, Stalker 2 is going to be in Game Pass, And then to go along with that, Sincerity says Stalker 2 looks so cool, but it's Xbox exclusive. It's a timed exclusive, just so everybody is aware. That's a console, like that's a launch exclusive. So when Stalker 2 launches, it is an exclusive to Xbox and PC, like Game Pass stuff, but it's not forever. That's a timed exclusive that will be coming to PlayStation. So, just so everybody's aware, that was a launch exclusive. So it's a timed exclusive. But with, let's see, where are we at here? Hour and a half in. Is there any other games that you guys kind of want to talk about from like the showcases and stuff, or do you guys want to kind of get into the poll that I put up? And I don't want to put this. I had reasons to put up this poll. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think after I saw the rest of E3, look, shout out to all the game devs out there, but boy, none of those games were for me, man. I wasn't interested in a lot of them. A lot of them were uh, a lot of people were using like 2D type graphics,
Yeah.
old school like
Yeah.
Nintendo type graphics, and I don't know if that's because they're kind of just entering this space and it's easier for them. They're programmers, they don't have great art teams or whatnot. So it's easier for them to kind of build on this type of game style where it looks artsy, but it's kind of old. So it's like, ooh, it's cool. But there were a lot of games that just did not tickle my pickle.
Well, with those
So,
with that art style and that game style, I think from like especially from Microsoft the side of the things there, a lot of people want to try to imitate the success that Ori and the Will of the Wisps had,
oh yeah, I get that.
because
I
that was
get
like a
that.
90 something Metacritic, and that was like a Game of the Year. Did it win Game of the Year, or it was a Game of the Year
No
contender?
contender.
Yeah, like I think people want to.
You know, it's like that. Hades also had that kind of like
Yeah.
cartoony look, but
Yep.
it plays like Diablo. But I think at this point in time, look, we talked a little bit about Forza, which was cool, especially on this podcast. But you know, it's E3, so we want to talk about different types of things. We discussed Battlefield. We talked about Halo a little bit. You know, we got some input from the community,
What?
people who were here,
Yeah.
what they
One
would
more
like.
before we actually get to the poll, and
What
where
else
did
do
it
you
go?
have?
Foxter said, "What about Avatar? Your thoughts?" I
Avatar.
will
I
say when
mean,
that opened up and it was like Snowdrop, it's like, okay, this
yeah.
is one of two games. This is either Avatar or Star Wars. It's one of those two games because that's the only thing that you're going to see that kind of environment in Snowdrop. And that just showcases too that I've talked about this multiple times, even with devs at Ghost Recon. I've talked about it, and I've also talked about with a bunch of people in the community about like what's the deal with why can't we have Ghost Recon on Snowdrop? Because at the very beginning of that trailer, you saw the jungle setting in Snowdrop. Oh my god, dude, that looked so good. And then it kind of faded out, and then you saw I don't even know what the creatures are called in Avatar, if there's actually a term for them, but
I don't know, whatever.
that environment in Snowdrop, ugh.
But I don't think we should confuse like in engine and in game.
True.
You know,
It is,
I know it's like we know what Snowdrop can do. Just go play the Division 2 right now.
yeah, but
You
when
know
you
what I'm saying?
compare the Division 1 trailer to the Division 1,
But that's what I'm saying. That Division 1 trailer was
oof.
fake.
Yeah.
So that 2013 trailer was fake. So I'm not about to look at an Avatar, maybe quote unquote in engine, you know, rendered amazingly. I'm not going to look at that and be like, oh my God, I can't wait to play this. When in all reality, uh, we might actually get a Division 2 just with blue characters. Like this is massive entertainment making this game.
Yeah.
You don't know if it could play just like the Division with RPG elements where it's kind of looter shooter ish, and you're getting this and that and the other, and your gear gets better, and it's third person with blue characters, and you know it'll look a little better than the Division 2. It'll be upgraded, but I don't think it's gonna look. It's definitely not gonna look like that. That was an obviously a rendered scene.
Yeah.
That is not anything in game. So, but I'm excited to say the least because Massive is really going to be able to showcase outside of this kind of uh, grounded realism that you get in the Division. We're going to be able to see something like Star Wars and see something like Avatar. So they're going to be able to push the limits of what they can do mechanically and technically with Snowdrop, and we might be able to get to see a lot more, and they'll be able to maybe push the limits with these types of games where they really can't with the Division because it's supposed to be somewhat still grounded in reality regardless of how the game plays with the looter shooter mechanics. But I'm still excited, and I think everyone should be because, hey man, it might be a cool game, and Massive has some experience under their belt, and if Lucas Games trusts them with Snowdrop and Star Wars, maybe they're gonna hit some home runs here in the future. Who knows?
Is there a game that is coming out soon that is based on the Division 2, but it's a zombie game?
Not that I've heard of.
Yeah, no, there's a
I-
mobile.
Are
There's
I heard of
Heartland and
something.
then a mobile game.
are you talking about? Well, I know Watch Dogs has the alpha out now, but I don't never heard of anything for the Division doing that.
No, it looks like Division. It feels like the Division. I mean, it's totally the same gameplay and the same engine and everything. I think the same.
Wait, are you talking about the day before?
Could it be the day before? I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
it looks like a
yeah.
Division ripoff with zombies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That none of
Well,
that.
that's
I don't
not-
think any of that's actual gameplay either. To be honest.
Yeah. Who knows if that's gameplay, and that's not Ubisoft.
That's a super. That's a
Massive.
super indie studio, and they're trying to make it look like
Ah,
they made whatever they showed
okay.
look like the Division 1 trailer. It's like, dude, there's no way.
Exactly.
There's no way
yeah.
that's too good to be true.
But
So we'll see.
it wasn't just a trailer. It was a gameplay trailer.
Yeah, but I
Oh.
think that was a pre-rendered thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
these devs these days are tricky, man. They have been
It
ever
looked good.
since.
It did. It
2013.
definitely did look
It
good.
looked good. It looked good. So we'll see about that in the future.
Especially when they had the gameplay of where you weren't in the city and you were out in like the muddy area with the truck. It looked like they ripped that straight from SnowRunner.
Huh.
But I know that there is some people that are kind of getting a little impatient in the chat, so we are going to kind of move on to the poll. So I did just put it up in chat, and I'm just going to, like, real quick, I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to spam the crap out of it. So that is the link to the poll that I put up over on Reddit. The exact same poll is up on my community tab on the YouTube channel, as well as there is a post up on the Ghost Recon forums that takes you to the Reddit poll, as well as I did put up a tweet on Twitter, a poll on Twitter as well, with all of the same questions and answers and stuff like that. So I put this up because I really want to know from the community, because there's been several different people in the actual community that I've talked to that have different opinions on what the future of the franchise should be. So I put up this poll and tried to get as many people, like if anybody that's in here, if you take that poll, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Reddit, upvote it, share it around as much as physically possible, because I think I set it up for 5 days and I'm trying to get the largest sample size as possible based on, the current community that we have at this point in Breakpoint's life cycle. But the question that I asked, and for those of you guys that may not have clicked on it yet, I said, what direction would you want the developers of Ghost Recon to go for the next game? And I said, please share this and give as much feedback as possible. And the 4 options were, the first one being super mil sim. So like we're talking Arma, Escape from Tarkov, what's the other one? Insurgency Sandstorm, like super hardcore realism, like super realism. The next option would be what we've kind of deemed Arma Light. So this would kind of be somewhere in between what the current games are and then your super mil sim like Arma, like a happy medium between the two. And then the third option was basically how the game is now, how Breakpoint is now, if that's the way you wanted the games to be. And then the last one was like arcade RPG, so this would be way less real than it currently is and a bunch more RPG aspects. Like we're talking super like a Ghost Recon / Fortnite style, like less realistic.
Yeah, and if you voted for that, I hope you pee your bed tonight.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is currently I'm going off of
the meanest thing I could say live.
Yeah, I'm currently going off the one that I put up on my YouTube community tab, and it currently has 1,400 votes, and we are sitting at, somebody did vote for arcade. Somebody did, because it does have 1% of the votes.
But I would love to
peas.
see what these people really are like. They might just have this all confused in their heads.
That, or they're just trolling to troll.
Yeah. They're just trolling.
And then we have 9% that want to keep it how it is. So there's 10% of the 100% of votes. So now moving on, we have 18% of 1,400 votes that wanted Arma, Super Mil Sim Arma, and I'll be honest, I think it would be fun, but I think that
Oh, it's probably too much.
that's too much. That's going to alienate the core player base.
Yeah,
But we
it's
are
too much.
sitting at 72%
The
of
majority.
the
I
majority
just voted.
is Armalite. So somewhere in between current game and Milsim. So a happy medium between the super Milsim and what we currently have. That's based off of the thread that I put up on my community tab. So real quick, I will flash over to the Reddit one real quick.
That basically, dude, and that's basically what we are always trying to talk about in our communities and here in the tactical roundtable. It's basically take what Ghost Recon is and just look, make the ballistics better, make the enemy AI better, give us control of our AI teammates. Don't give us killer robots. Don't give us blossoming trees with loot boxes everywhere. No one wants tiered loot. Write a good story, and that's it. You have it. There's your home run.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I've
that's
seen,
basically what that is.
yeah, and I saw multiple people say, like, if you want to like include games that we already have had, take Wildlands for instance, and then put everything that we've talked about. Make it a little bit more realistic with the weapons, with the AI, with the customization, with the actual ability to command your AI teammates. Make it so that the world is alive like Wildlands, not have a crappy excuse of why it's not alive, like having it be in martial law, and have it be like, for instance, we've talked about if they want to do open world, fine, do open world, but have a mission structure that, like, the Wildlands mission structure wasn't necessarily bad if you did it in like the order that you kind of were supposed to. So you're
If you
in the
did
first
one
region,
province at a
one
time,
province at a time. It made sense. It was kind of the way it should have been. Like you talked about with Breakpoint, like your first mission, you have to go from like the middle of the map all the way up to the very north, and then you have to go all the way to the other side of the map, and it was just like there was no like, I don't know what
fluidity.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
There was nothing with that. It was just like all over the place. So, but if I go over to the Reddit thread, we have the same results basically. Obviously, there's not quite as many votes on the Reddit thread yet.
But still, I got 716 on my screen.
Yeah,
It's
I
still
have
good.
727 votes is what I have on
There you
here,
go. I'll
and it's very
refresh.
similar.
Oh, there it is.
Very similar. We have the minority is more arcade-ish. The next one they want to keep it the same, and then your top two are Ultra Milsim, which is at 137 votes of the 727, and then nearly 500 of the 727 votes want it Armalite, somewhere in between Milsim and the current games. You know,
I
so
voted for that.
That's the one that makes more sense. That's the one that is
Yeah.
logical. That's the one that all Ubisoft has to do is say, hey, maybe we shouldn't have killer robots. Hey, maybe we shouldn't have, loot boxes everywhere. Hey, maybe we could work on our AI. Hey, maybe and you know what? Also, this if you want to build an experience for co op gameplay, maybe you guys can work on something that gives us huge bases and more than 4-player co op.
yeah.
You want to move into the future where people are playing these crazy games, 100-player battle royales. Hey, maybe these bases should be a lot bigger. You take a base from Breakpoint, times it by 5, and then have the 10. You could add up to 9 other players that can play with you, in co-op.
Even increasing it to like a 8-player co-op would be
Whatever.
fun.
And that gets more towards what kind of Drewski was even saying in his How to Make Ghost Recon Better. Like, you got to get to the point where it's 2021. By the time the next game comes out, who knows? We can't keep playing with only 3 other people. We can't keep going into PvP matches 4v4. You're
Yeah.
getting absolutely smashed by Battlefield, 128 players, huge maps, tornadoes flying everywhere, destruction everywhere. And then you have 100-player Halo, 100-player Warzone. Then you have now a new Halo coming out. It's absolutely insane. So if you're going to try to keep up with this, maybe you could try to get to the point where the bases are bigger, the player count can be bigger. Even if you're going to do the AI teammates, like you said, 6 AI teammates, 8 AI teammates, let us control them individually. Make it chaotic, man. Make it to where it gets to the point where this feels like a squad-based tactical shooter.
Correct. And like you were instancing there with like what Drewski said, for those of you guys that may not have seen his video talking about, like, for instance, the if you did have 8-player co-op, and then you had, like, for instance, like I've kind of talked about, like, strike missions, or we can just, let's just call it, it's in the open world. There's a mission that you have to do where
Just call it faction missions. They'll understand.
right. So but you have a
uh,
mission where you
yeah,
have
no
to like, for instance, all you have to do is interrogate a high valued target. Okay? But he is in the middle of a sprawling base where if there's like communication between what's the word I'm looking for, like the backup, what you call that, like when you get they radio to a QRF. So you have an option to basically go in and chance, you know, being alerted and having a QRF basically come in and just totally obliterate you, because then they're going to have massive backup with massive amounts of troops. Or your first thing that you do is you take out a communications tower that's up on a ridge or something close to the base. So now you've cut off all radio contact that base has to said QRF. And then, for instance, how there's like the generators and stuff currently in the Ghost Recon games. You know, you go in there and you take out some of the generators. So then obviously you might have alarm systems and turrets and other stuff that, okay, now that no longer works. They don't have any anti-air missiles if you were able to like get this guy and you want to extract him with a helicopter, whatever, so be it. But have it so that you have the option. 8-player co-op was, I mean, it might be hectic, but if you get a group of 8 players that have good comms, that would be fun to watch. Like, I would watch that. If you have 8 players that are all synced up, that know what they're doing, that know what they're talking about, have these 8-player like sync shot takedowns with 8 real players that are communicating between themselves instead of relying on drones and AI to take down all that, and just have it, you know, in the open world, but have it be where you have this base that's, you know, 3 or 4 times the size of a base that you have currently in Ghost Recon, and double or triple the amount of troops, because you have decent sized bases in Breakpoint, but it just feels empty. You have this massive base and it only has like 15 or 20 wolves. It's like, no, that thing should have 3 times as many people. Like, make it hard. And I don't know, going back to this, I don't know if that's an engine thing, being that Ghost Recon is on Anvil Next or Anvil 2.0. That's a whole nother thing that we could get into. And I think we could probably have an entire tactical roundtable talking about that, but I'm not a developer.
That's an honest discussion that needs to be had between the developers, because obviously, you know, Anvil Next is closed. It's closed source. It's not open source. You know, it's not like we could download it like Unreal and check it out and see how it works. I don't know if we can have a base that's 5 times the size of normal compounds in Breakpoint and then have, you know, 4 times the amount of enemies. I'm not sure. But if you can, then why are you not doing it? Why are these bases all relatively the same size with the same amount of men? Is this the limit that we're seeing? And is it the engine, or is this the limit that we're seeing because of this gen that we're on? Maybe next gen we'll get lucky and it's really not the engine and it's just the hardware, with how busy these games can be with 20, 30, 40 characters, 40 enemies, and 3 or 4 teammates that you have. You know, maybe it's just too much for the old hardware. So, but you know, I don't know. So I hate the fact that we sit here and we're like, hey, why don't we have a base that's 5 times the size with more enemies? And then they're sitting over there like, yeah, well, we can't do that because the engine can't handle it. Like, I don't know. So who the hell knows? But I'm assuming that it can. If every other game, if we're going into a new Battlefield game and there's 128 co-op, don't like, that doesn't make any sense that it would be limited by anything other than the technical prowess of Ubisoft. So I think it can be done, unless it's just the worst engine in the world, which I don't think it is. Maybe they just think that the players that they're catering the game to don't want these huge bases, because they want it to be able, you know, you get in, you get out, you beat it, you feel good about yourself. But they have to realize that these bases are just too small, right?
He's talking about like a participation trophy.
Yeah, for real. That's what that's how they design games. They want to make sure everybody can attack this, you know, in a way that feels good and that they could actually complete it. You start getting into a place where a base is 5 times the size of a normal compound in Breakpoint, where you can get lost in that shit. You get in the middle of it and you're getting overrun. And now, you know, are we alienating people because it's too hard? Yada yada yada. But I think they've got it backwards. I think that's what people want. People want to be, they want to get into this urban type of combat, and then escape, and then get into combat in the jungles with, you know, tons of enemies. It's a little, it's not enough when you're going from a compound to a compound and you come across a motorcycle with 3 guys.
Yeah, that's something else, dude. Those just like randomly sprinkled little 3-man squads with a broken down motorcycle in the middle of the woods. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. That's just something else. Cause like even and that's the thing too is you think about like Wildlands, you still kind of had like those like 3-4 man groups sometimes in spots, but it's like there were so many different iterations of it. Sometimes you saw those guys where they were kind of out in the middle of nowhere, you know, at a helicopter. You know, they were guarding a helicopter or something like that, or
But it wasn't like Breakpoint.
right, or you had
No,
these
no.
guys standing on the side of the road that were holding NPCs hostage. Like they had 2 or 3 guys, a couple of them down on their knees with a gun to their head or whatever, you know, like, and it was like you choose to, you know, you want to like intervene or not, you know, and it just, yeah, we could. That's a whole other thing with just the way the
Unidad.
yeah. Oh, and yeah, Unidad, the
Unidad.
Unidad mechanic, man. If you get busted like by like one of them or something, and then you get level 1. And then you defend yourself from level 1, which obviously makes it be level 2, and you're just trying to survive level 2, and by doing that, now you have level 3.
3, yeah.
Like that's such a cool mechanic. That is because I know that I know there was one time when I was playing Wildlands, I was playing by myself in one of the big Unidad operations bases. I got alerted and was like, you know what, I'm gonna see how long I can last, and it never stopped. They just kept coming and kept coming. I take out the big helicopters, and then more of them just kept coming. It was sort of like guerrilla mode in Future Soldier. It was like wave-based combat because of the system that's pre-programmed into the game, and they were not dumb AI. Like the Unidad AI in Wildlands is better than any AI that's in Breakpoint, to be honest.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I just, like I
Wildlands is
said,
better in any way. Only the maybe the some of the mechanics and the gameplay and the graphics. This was improved in Breakpoint, but and the movement and everything. But everything else, I think, in Wildlands was better.
yep. And that's like what me and when me and G were playing that one night. We did a live stream. We were just messing around in ghost mode, and with the missions where you get supply raids and you go steal helicopters and you take down convoys, and like the convoys are in Breakpoint, but there's no purpose of the convoy in Breakpoint. Like with the whole resource feature to unlock your skills and level up your character, you need resources to do that, and the only way to get those is to complete those missions. Taking down convoys, stealing planes, stealing helicopters, doing all that stuff, and it's like that shit was fun. Because like there was the one where it was a simple convoy. It was a super simple convoy. You have 2 Humvees and a mechanical truck that might have like 2 guys in it. Super simple. But there was a Unidad guy that drove by when we took it. So now we got, Unidad all over our ass trying to escape to not die because we're in ghost mode, and it's, I don't know, just the mechanics of the AI in that game are so much better. And I don't understand how you go from one game like that to the next game and the AI is just dumb, I guess.
They didn't have the mechanics to support the game loop.
Yeah.
And
because like
what it was that, honestly, I think it's because from Wildlands, a lot of people said that the AI is, they're too honed in on us. So they definitely tweaked something, but it made them super dumb.
Yeah, because like even when I'm trying to remember where we were. I think it was right at the start of the game where you have those lieutenants that drove around in the cars. That was like your intel. You could steal intel from the dudes that are driving in the cars, and it's like, okay, yeah, super simple. You shoot the car enough where the dude wants to get out of the car, not a big deal. But like another cartel guy drove by when we did that. And then I'm like sitting here trying to interrogate this dude, and like 4 other cartel cars show up and try to like totally annihilate us. And it's like that mechanic isn't there in Breakpoint. It's just non-existent. The fact that like in Breakpoint, if you break stealth, it's not that big of a deal. In Wildlands, if you're in the middle of a base, particularly a Unidad base, and you break stealth, you're screwed.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially like for instance, if you're playing on a higher difficulty and if you're playing in ghost mode, which I made the mistake of doing. When I was trying to go for a very specific gameplay and a very specific mission on like a high difficulty in ghost mode, I could have done it in the regular game, but I hated the fact that my character had 2 weapons in the regular game. Ghost mode, you have 1 primary weapon. It looks cleaner. And I went through 3 ghost mode characters trying to get this gameplay because Unidad just shit on me. So, but that entire AI mechanic and system not being in Breakpoint is a huge reason why for me it has no real big replay value. Because the amount of things that can keep you busy in Wildlands, taking especially at the start of a character when you have to get all those resources to level up your character. You have to steal choppers, you have to steal planes, you have to take down convoys, which some convoys are super easy. Other convoys have a helicopter escort and, they're in areas where there's Unidad around that, you have no idea what's going to happen. So I think a lot of that from the mechanics in Wildlands definitely need to return in the next game, and then also when it comes to the weapon customization, the character customization, the in-game mechanics, and all that stuff. Like the gameplay you guys are watching on screen right now is the Future Soldier Gunsmith, which is way more in depth than the Breakpoint Gunsmith, even though the Breakpoint Gunsmith is the 3rd iteration of the Gunsmith. So I don't know. I had a whole video that I was actually going to make on that, and it's kind of on hold, but at some point I will put it together. But it's just, I feel like in the thought process of gaming, when you go from one game to the next iteration, it's supposed to get better. From the Gunsmith from Future Soldier was the best Gunsmith, hands down. Wildlands, they took things away. Breakpoint, they took a boatload of stuff away because they wanted to try to basically sell you variants. Instead of being able to fully modify your gun in the Gunsmith, they made it so that you had to get a completely other variation of a gun because you couldn't customize stocks and barrels and stuff like that. They took that option away from you and forced you to pick up weapon variants, which, don't even get me started on that. But the first iteration of the Gunsmith was the best iteration of the Gunsmith by far, so yeah, there's my rant with that. But when it comes to the poll, kind of getting back to the poll, when it comes to Milsim, Armalite, that kind of thing, I know that you guys kind of said what you voted on, but like what do you guys like? If the dev asked you, what do you want when it comes to like the basic gameplay style of the next Ghost Recon, what would you say? What would you tell them?
Take Wildlands and improve it. Take Wildlands, take the Wildlands blueprint and improve it with better graphics, better mechanics, more things to do, more intelligent AI, more tactics with your teammates, bigger squads, but take the base of the Wildlands. Don't take Breakpoint base.
Okay, so here's a question I have for you two before I answer.
Yeah.
What's more important to you in Ghost Recon? Stealth gameplay, and what I mean by stealth is not you're not being seen before you shoot someone in the head. What I mean is, what's more important? Splinter Cell stealth, or Ghost Recon squad-based tactical military mechanics? Like, what's more important to you?
The latter. Squad-based Ghost Recon mechanics, but the fact that it's not there, we have reverted to stealth.
Okay, but so Havoc, what about you? What's more important to you?
For me, the stealth aspect is more important, but only because the AI.
No, forget that the game is so bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're playing a Ghost Recon game. What's more important? You want to walk around like Sam Fisher, or you want to be able to engage like a special operator, like you're in special forces? Like, what do you want to do in a Ghost Recon game? Do you want it to play more like Splinter Cell?
I like the way to play it like Splinter Cell, to be honest, but I didn't experience any way of a good squad-based experience. That's why I cannot answer this question unbiased, because I have the Splinter Cell gameplay on Breakpoint, but I don't have it as a squad-based tactical shooter. And if it were good, I would probably take the squad-based shooting.
Okay, so now this is my point. If Ubisoft is gonna X me, right? I'm going to avoid anything that's really like not doesn't get into specifics, because you can never assume someone's going to know what you mean if you say take Wildlands and make it better, for instance, like what Havoc said. Who the hell knows what they know? But they know about that, about taking Wildlands and make it better. For all you know, they butcher that just like they created Breakpoint. So
Mm.
honestly, for me, if I'm going to be exactly specific, and I just have to say, one easy thing, it's going to be enemy AI needs to feel like they work in a cohesive unit. They should be, however the code works or however the AI is going to work, it needs to feel like when you're in an engagement with the enemy AI, you should be getting suppressed by one enemy while other enemies try to flank, or other enemies try to flashbang and frag you while other enemies try to flank. They should sound like they're communicating with each other. For instance, in Breakpoint, it's Charlie 2 is down. I'm moving up. It's like, but they're,
Yeah.
but they, you could sit there but you could actually tell that they're not working together.
Yeah.
They're all running a script, and it looks like just individual scripts running at the same time.
Oh man,
So
AJ's down.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They shot
So-
him.
So so what I would say is this: look, you have to get to the point where the enemy AI feels like they're working as a unit, and in order to combat that, I need to have complete control of my AI teammates, so I can see an enemy flanking to 50 meters to my right, and I could say teammate 3 over there. And I point to my right, I take teammate 3 and he moves 20, 30 meters to my right, and he could cover that flank. I see guys moving left, and I could take a teammate and move him out 10 yards to my left. It needs to get to the point where the game doesn't revolve around, here's a base, walk through this base and stealth kill as many people as possible. And then when you get seen, press the oh shit cleared hot button, and your AI teammates will help your noob ass finish everyone else off. That's what we need to get away from. We need to get away from the fact that, oh my God, I can't stealth kill anyone anymore, and now I'm in a gunfight. I'll press cleared hot and my AI teammates will kill everybody. We need to get to the point where you can simply control your teammates. Move over there, open fire, hold position. And they move to positions, hold position, open fire, hold fire, doing all of that in unison with one another. You don't say open fire and your teammate runs around like an idiot. You say open fire, and the last position you told him to stay at, he stays there while he opens fire on enemies.
Yes, please.
And so now you have now if you're not playing co-op, you're playing just with your AI teammates, you have these teammates that you can control, you could pinpoint them to positions, you can set up a perimeter, and you can engage the enemy on proper terms because they're mechanically programmed to now try to counter anything you throw at them, which is enemies suppressing, enemies flashbanging, enemies fragging, enemies flanking, and seem like they're communicating with one another. I don't want to see shotgunners, for the sake of them having a shotgun, be programmed to just walk at me. You can engage me with the shotgun from 20, 30, 40, 50 meters out behind cover. You can engage me from a tree with that assault rifle 50 meters away and not come out of that tree because, oh, it's time for me to kill you now. No, let me figure out like a quote unquote puzzle. Let me figure out this puzzle of enemies around me, and I will flank. I will move my teammates to counter the position you're in. When you're engaged with enemy AI in this game, 10 out of 10 times, every enemy just moves around. They'll be in perfect cover and they'll run out to engage you.
Yeah.
So
Running
that
straight to you.
So that right there, if we don't tackle that, if we don't tell the devs, this is the problem with Ghost Recon. Your guys don't shoot and run for cover. Your guys run out of cover and then shoot. It's backwards. And it's backwards for the sake of, oh, it's a game. We need to keep it moving. We need you to enjoy it. No, I'll enjoy it, Paul. I'll enjoy it by you making this a actual gunfight where I have to engage tactically and figure out how I can get around you, or figure out how I can defeat this line of enemies, figure out how I won't get flanked, figure out how to engage this enemy, that enemy, this situation, that situation. And I think if we cover that and they start doing that, maybe then they'll understand, okay, this is where this is the structure of the game. So now we'll build it around this. If we don't get to a place where they understand that, we're gonna get the same Ghost Recon game where, yeah, they'll take Wildlands or Breakpoint, they'll take the best parts of it, but you know what? You'll just be walking around stealth killing dumb AI for the next game. You'll just be walking around, doing these mundane tasks and mundane missions that don't provide any type of real challenge or real tactical know-how to say, hey, can I move this one teammate 20 meters that way? And then while I suppress these guys, maybe I try to have them, hit the flanks and then hit the enemy from the sides, or, there's got to be something when you're playing co-op to the point where we're all playing and it's like, oh shit, Havoc, I'm pinned down. Who's pinning me down? And it feels like Ghost War, Wildlands Ghost War Enforcer mechanics. Anybody who knows what that is, the Enforcer had suppression mechanics where your screen went blurry. It's like, yo, I'm pinned down. I can't see anything. I have suppressing fire. And then Havoc's like, oh shit, I see the guy with the LMG suppressing G. I'm on it. And then you attack him and then boom, okay, now I'm free. Where do we move from here? Instead it's just like, oh, let's just everybody just shoot these fucking dumb AI because they're going to run out from cover anyway. And, that's basically, in a nutshell, that's what I feel like is the most important part to move Ghost Recon as a quote unquote squad-based tactical shooter forward. Because if we don't, we're just going to keep getting Splinter Cell stealth with a little bit of gunplay with dumb AI characters who run around like idiots. And yeah, that's it.
Here, here.
Here, here.
Yeah, I don't.
That's the most important thing to me in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I think the AI, it doesn't need to be like you were talking about, like the participation trophy. AI, you should have to, and this maybe, like I said, maybe this is the player base that, the target audience isn't us, because I want to go into a base, and if I alert the base, I want it to be like challenge to one guy. I don't care if it's everybody that's at the base. I want it to be hard to take down one guy. I want that guy to stay in cover, blind fire over the cover, try to pin me down, flashbang, frag to try to force me out from behind my cover, and then, likewise with the other people around him. So if he's suppressing while I'm being suppressed, like the suppressing feature in Future Soldier is great. The mission, I think before this, there was one of the big Humvees that had the turret on top that was shooting the cover that I was behind, and it forced my character down so I could not see over the cover whatsoever, because you had to duck down. It basically forced you into that animation. You could still peek over the cover after, like, even when you were suppressed, but like your aim was all over the place because you were being suppressed. But like, for instance, that one of the enemies suppresses you, so now you can't see over the cover that you're hiding behind. While that's happening, other AI are flanking and getting into positions that you don't even know they're at to try to get you out from behind that cover. That's the kind of AI I want. I want it to be hard, because then when you do take out a base or something like that, it's more rewarding than the fact of, hey, I just, I took it down. I took it down stealthily because it wasn't that hard,
There's difficulty in this game. So if, you could put it on easy and just mow through dudes, but when you put it on hard and they have these types of mechanics, you'd feel it.
It needs to be an AI mechanic, not hurdy your bullets.
Yeah.
Increasing the difficulty does not need to be the exact same AI. And it just means that, now bullets hurt more, or the enemy's a little tankier. No, that's not how scalable AI needs to work. On easy, let's just say this, for instance, on easy, they need to be dumb AI like they are now. On easy, if somebody really wants it to be an easy experience. But if I want to play on extreme, the bullets don't need to change. Like, it should still be, 3-4 shots, whatever. The same bullet damage should apply, but the enemy should be smarter. The enemy should be harder. The enemy should be in higher numbers in a base. Like on easy, you have a skeleton crew that's dumb, for instance. On extreme, you have 30, 40 guys, different types of guys, snipers, guys that, when you get into a firefight, they're not just, like you said, they don't run out of cover and then shoot. They run to cover and then shoot. They blind fire, like just to get bullets in your direction. They don't even necessarily have to try to be hitting you. Right.
Yeah, to be
just,
able to move. Yeah.
Right. And make it so that, on the harder difficulties, it is a little bit more, 2-3 bullets and you're down. So then, for instance, you're not going to try to peek over cover when somebody's blind firing you, because if by some chance he catches you with 2 or 3 bullets with that blind fire, you're done. You're down for the count. But yeah, enemy AI doesn't need to be, it needs to be scalable, but not on the scalable that it is now. It's not they hurt more and you die faster and they're tankier. That's not how it should work. It should work, they're smarter, they have different tactics on harder difficulties than they do on easy. So.
And Drisselith in chat, enemies need some self-preservation instinct. That could be the first step in making this game a little more in line to where it should be.
Yeah.
Like, guys, can we just please have these guys, they get behind cover, they pop out, they shoot, they pop back in. They, at no point in time should they run forward when there's nothing in front of them. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And that's like video game stuff. That's like they design it in a way where it doesn't last forever and there's no stalemate. It makes it to where, the player's quote unquote having fun, and they don't think of these engagements as puzzles instead, to where the player should have to figure out, how do I best this enemy who's behind this cover?
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, even like the gameplay that you guys are watching now, I feel as if like the enemy AI in here is smarter than what we currently have by a long shot. Because like 90% of the enemies that I'm shooting at are like, that dude just threw a grenade at me, and you guys will.
And they are in cover, actually.
They're all in cover, and they peek over cover and try to shoot, and it's just, there's flashbangs that get. There was a instance a few seconds ago or whatever where some dude landed a flashbang like right next to me, and I couldn't see. I couldn't see shit for like almost 10 seconds. That was just all white. And like, for instance, the cover system in this game, I personally like the cover system in this game. It's more of a sticky cover, kind of like the Division, but the cover to cover system is fantastic, where like you're just head down sprinting cover to cover, as fast as you can, just to get from cover to cover without taking shots, instead of just, I don't know. I do like the soft cover system that's in like Wildlands and Breakpoint, but I personally like the Future Soldier cover system way better. It just feels more.
That's in the Division.
Is there cover to cover and everything in the Division?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, where you run from one to the next. They put that into the Division.
Right. I do say that it's a little bit easier to get off of cover in Future Soldier. It's not as sticky when you want to move. Like, I remember going back and trying to, like, right now in the gameplay you guys are seeing right there, I was like fully suppressed. Like, you guys that are in Discord are not seeing the same stuff because we're like live, but the guys in chat, like, I'm like fully behind cover, fully suppressed. I can't see a damn thing. The screen's all shaking all over the place because this dude's just blasting the crap out of the cover that I'm behind. And then like the outside of the screen gets all black, like the vignetting or whatever that they call it. Like the whole outside of the screen gets all black, so it kind of like tunnels your vision and everything. And the screen goes black there too because that was the infamous game crash that Future Soldier has. So I had to like restart from the recent checkpoint because that game is like terrible for crashing and stuff on PC right now.
It's not optimized.
And no smoke grenades. No smoke grenades in Breakpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in Ghost Recon freaking period, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's none in Wildlands. The whole open world aspect. It all comes down to the game needs better AI. There's no smoke in my opinion because the AI would see right through it. That's
because you'd have to program the the AI. That would have to be a thing that's programmed into the code of the AI that when you pop a smoke, they can't see through it.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same thing. Even in the AI in Wildlands was kind of like that. Like, for instance, if there was a guy that was in bushes, he could still see you. He'd be shooting you through bushes, and you can't see him. And sometimes you'd get downed, and you can't even shoot back because that cover that bush isn't there for them. They can see right through it, which is also a big problem in Escape from Tarkov too, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think, and that's the thing is like all of this, I think the first step that you do have to make, there's a lot of things that are wrong that stem from the AI. That's not a terrible idea to fix that first. Because you fix that first, it's going to patch up a lot of some of the other holes that are basically directly linked to the fact of the AI isn't right. So, but
I think Ubisoft thinks they need to hold our hand through the game, and that's why they make it so easy. It's just they think most of the people are not capable of finishing the missions or whatever if it was too hard or if it was too difficult to do, and they made it like dumb AIs. Like, okay, just do this, and you will come through the mission no matter what.
yeah. And in chat too, Luke Brown says Ghost Recon Future Soldier does not crash if you go into the Ubi launcher and click Go Offline. If you do that, it doesn't crash. I might have to check that out because that was one of the problems I had. I'd go through a mission and it's like, oh, this is perfect gameplay, and then boom, it would crash. And it's like, man, now I gotta try to like cut and snip these two together.
Yeah.
And then Kingman Lao says Division 2 AI was smarter than Breakpoint. 100%. Division 2 AI actually took cover. You know, that's
not everyone.
Yeah, but
not
that's
every one of them. I mean, they coming running towards you. Sometimes,
yeah,
like
some of those dudes that do like the injections and then they just come sprint at you. Yeah. But
yeah, the archetypes of some enemies are programmed to purposefully like charge at you. But here's the thing with the Division that we have to remember: it's super like closed off. So when you engage these AI, they're there's cover everywhere, and they're programmed to run from one cover to the next. So it seems like it's a lot better. Where in something like Ghost Recon, in these huge open worlds, you're getting a guy that's behind the tree, and then there's nothing else. So it does seem a little worse. The Division, at face value, the AI does seem way better, but it might also just be because the way the game is designed, with these really close quarter areas.
yeah.
Even if it's quote unquote the open world outside, when you're walking down the street, there's not a lot of places to engage. The enemies go from one spot to the next, and they're always behind this type of cover. Where Breakpoint's not really like that. They're either behind a rock or a tree. I think the main problem is in Breakpoint is that they leave the cover too much.
Yeah. And then the shotgun guys just never take cover at all. They just sprint at your face.
And shoot at you at maybe 5 meters away from you.
Yeah.
Instead of shooting you way far ahead. I mean, you don't have to have just normal bird shots or something. You can have slugs that are better on distance in shotguns.
Yeah.
For example.
I think part of that too. Shit. I forgot what I was gonna say. Just like the way like the AI behaves, and the fact that the way they're like shit. I don't know. There was something specific I wanted to say, and I just completely lost thought.
We cover so much. It's like, yo, dude, it is what it is.
Okay, so what happened? Your microphone went crazy. It sounds like you're in a fishbowl.
You hear me now?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're in a fishbowl.
I'm in a fishbowl.
Yeah, I think your mic changed to a different mic.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm in a fishbowl.
Yeah, I was glancing over at the gameplay when I shot the rocket at the helicopter, and I completely drew a blank. But I think honestly, if anybody, like, if you guys have any like closing thoughts or whatever, I think that's about where we're probably gonna wrap things up.
Yep.
If anybody in chat has any other like things to add to it, like I said, I would say to go check out that poll for those of you guys that may not have been here earlier when I put up. I'm gonna throw.
How do I sound now?
Same. You still sound like in a fishbowl.
Nah, whatever.
Let's just leave it. We're gonna wrap it up anyway. But if you guys want to go check out that link, that is over to the Reddit thread, and then also if you guys want to go to the community tab on my YouTube channel, there's basically the same poll, and just trying to get like the largest sample sizes I possibly can based on what would you guys like to see as like a baseline for a future Ghost Recon game iteration, moving forward. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the TAC Roundtable tonight. Talking about some other games, E3, the lackluster Ubisoft press conference. Maybe we will.
Sound good now?
No, you still sound the same.
No.
What the hell?
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened, but I'm saying goodbye now. I love each and every one of you. It was a great time at the roundtable. Everyone in chat, have a great night. And you guys sign off for me.
All right,
All
man.
right, we'll do. We'll do.
So,
See you later, brother.
but yeah, definitely leave feedback on that. And any closing statements, Havoc?
No, it was fun. Thank you for having me, and hope I can join soon again. And yeah,
I'm not sure
I
when.
think we
I'm not sure when we're gonna do the next one because, basically the little 25-30 second teaser trailer thing that we got that says stay tuned, more information soon. Until then, there's not going to be a whole lot to talk about other than maybe getting like a Rainbow Six one on here and getting maybe some Rainbow Six content creators on here to see their opinion on it or whatever. But that, like I said, that is going to do it for the TAC Roundtable tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I think we peaked at just over 240 people in here, and ran it for what we're closing in on 2 hours and 20 minutes. So definitely had a lot to talk about, and definitely maybe do a few more polls and stuff like that just to kind of get a big sample size, because that's basically the goal of the poll. Is I want to get a big sample size on a topic like that so that I can kind of pool the results and give that to the devs, because I think there is kind of, I don't know, I think I kind of thought that's the direction that the community wanted, was like Armalite or something a little bit more real than we have now. So I can't really elaborate anymore on that. But that's I'm gonna keep rambling if I don't end this. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will definitely keep you guys up to date on when we're gonna do the next one, and then hopefully have some content coming out, some different content and stuff coming out in the coming weeks. So take care, everybody. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
see you guys.
Later.
Thank you.
Somebody says, who hit the